Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Mr. Amish, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, Todd Twazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mels 24, Unamento, M Iron 26, Endless, Golden McKiernan, Retro Bill, Level Plain Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W. Dale West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show. Need to get hold of AJ and move up Friday's show to Thursday. If I can. Because I'm not going to be around on Friday.
I know it, playing hockey.
On the contrary, I've got to go to the job centre.
Well, there's a problem with that politics server at the moment.
Right time.
It doesn't seem to be. Sorry, saying this, I don't know if there's a problem with that politics server at the moment. Doesn't seem to be. You know, when I do jump in now and again, there's usually quite a few people in there, and you can see the usual people, but it seems like not be there at the moment. Well, there's only a couple of people at a time. I think when there's no mods about, you can't get on there, but very unusual that there's not mods about. So just noticed it the last few days.
Notice what that it's quieter.
Yeah, usually you'll go on, there's usually like a list of names. There could be like 30, 40 people in there sometimes, but I've been jumping in the last couple of days just for a listen or whatever, and I'm not seeing that anymore. It's like it's disappeared. It's normal. So I'm not sure if something's happened. I was going to maybe try and, well, if you got AJ's details, he'll know.
Yeah, fine. I mean, when we next see AJ, if someone can tell me, and I'll just say to him, any chance we can do it on Thursday. And also, tomorrow's show might be a bit late.
That's not good enough.
Just me, or is Discord a bit quiet today? Is it just me?
No, he's coming in low.
One Dex is as he should be, but everyone else just seems quiet in Discord. Whoever just spoke, say again, it's just quiet. Or don't.
Jado, say something. Or don't.
Don't worry about it. Are you on Skype, One Deck?
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
We need to furnish you with the Skype group so you can join on the panel.
Well, yeah, I did see something pop up, but then I think I pressed it once, and I seem to be videoing myself. So I thought that might not be the right thing that's happening. So I just forgot all about it and didn't do anything else. Just press it here when it comes up.
Okay, well, we'll have to get it arranged to get you into the Master B group. There's a couple of others I've been meaning to ask for ages. You keep forgetting about it. You're one of them.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, that's a couple of things I need to speak to mods about. Politics server on Thursday rather than Friday, and then getting several participants to be added to Master B. Yeah, once you're in Master B, you just get the link daily.
Sorry, I'm just driving, but I think I get that link, Nathan. But like I say, I think I did press it once, and it seemed to be. I seem to be videoing myself when I opened it. I don't know if that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, it gives you the option to turn
I
off your
did it.
camera. So when you first join the Google Hangouts, it'll say, "Do you want to join with your mic and camera on?" And you just say no to camera.
Ah, right.
Obviously,
Yeah,
it checks
I'll
it's
give it.
working. It's a good piece of software. I actually pay for it monthly, just because it's reliable.
I'll give it another go then. Can't do anything at the moment. I'm just driving, but yeah, I'll give it another go. See what happens. Get on there with a.
I might run a show on Friday. I don't want to mess politics server around. If I get back at 4 o'clock or something, and then go, well, might as well have a show, and then just schedule one on the fly a couple of hours later than it would be normally. But there's a good chance if I know I'm not going to be around at a particular time that there's normally a show, I'll probably schedule a repeat to fill the gap. But then it's sort of, well, if we've just had a show go out, should I do a live show now? I don't know. Maybe I'll do a members only show. I'll do something potentially on Friday. I just don't know what. Depends how long I'm at the job centre.
Just say you're going to the job centre.
Yeah. Fun.
Also, if you're looking for a video to review, Sabine Hassenfeld has put a lot recently. And some of them are like 6 minutes, 8 minutes long. So heads up.
Yeah. Can you get us a link? Who was that?
Central Go. I'll tag Divergent Droid in the Discord chat.
Cool. Are you in Master B, Sensual Goat?
Well, I made a Skype account, so I was just waiting for the invitation.
Okay, yeah. Well, you know, someone else who needs to get an invite, so you'd have to go via Divergent Droid. Okay, Divergent Droid's in here, so hopefully he'll have a word with you afterwards and get you into the Master B group. I don't want to discuss what your screen names are in Skype while we're recording, though, so for obvious reasons, don't tell me that. Just discuss it in a back room somewhere, if you know what I mean.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I was supposed to do this stupid job centre appointment on Saturday, and it was booked for something like 1 o'clock, and then I woke up at 8 o'clock or whatever, a reasonably normal time, got out of bed and couldn't stand on one of my legs. I dislocated my knee. I was in agony. I thought I'd broken my leg or something. So my wife phoned me an ambulance, which after it didn't come for about an hour, I was like hopping around to try and get around. And then I sat down and it just went click, made this massive, horrible, raunchy clicking sound. And then I could suddenly move this leg around. So I phoned them back up and I'm like, I don't actually need an ambulance anymore. I can actually walk now. And the pain's starting to subside. Obviously, when you're in a lot of pain, you forget about stupid appointments. So after the fact, my wife was like, I cancelled your appointment for you. was like, oh, how wonderful.
How did you do that then? Do you not feel it dislocate?
Deal with, say that again.
How did you manage to do that?
I've no idea. So when they asked me on the phone, because I was like tears streaming down my face, screaming in agony like a proper baby, and my wife hands me the phone. She's on the phone to whoever, the ambulance service. And they're like, when did that happen? I went, I don't know. I was just asleep, and I was having a dream about walking on uneven ground, and then I woke up in agony. I was like, I don't actually know what I did. Not that it mattered.
Long as it wasn't.
Go on.
Long as it wasn't a dream about walking around a globe, Earth ground, you'd be all right.
No, nothing like that. I just vaguely remember it, like I say, and woke up, and now it's a pain in the ass because it's interfering with my work week, rearranging the appointment. But there we go.
I did
it's
that
easily
once
done in your
with-
sleep. I've
Yeah.
twisted my back up in my sleep.
Okay.
I did it. Sorry,
that
with my
makes me
hand
feel
once.
better. So it's not uncommon to, unbeknown to you, injure yourself while you're fast asleep. Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, I've had it with my hand, and I couldn't even. And I don't remember. Sometimes my job's physical; I can injure myself, but I'd not really noticed anything untoward. I would have felt something, but I woke up one morning and I couldn't clench my hand. It was excruciating pain, and the pain was travelling up to my elbow and my shoulder, and I couldn't go to work. I couldn't drive, and I had no idea how I did it. It took about 2 weeks to sort itself out with painkillers and ibuprofen and stuff like that, ice packs. But again, I don't got a clue how I.
Well, we've all woken up with a stiff neck, and that's when your head hasn't been supported. So just put that to every other part of your body when you've slept funny and you haven't corrected yourself because you've been asleep. So you've been sleeping in a position for so long where you just need time to undo the damage.
Excuse me a minute, gentlemen. One deck, if you would message me your Skype username via Discord, I can add you to Master B, and also anyone else that Nathan wants in the Master B and Skype.
Thanks, DD. You're a superstar.
Okay, mate. Do it as soon as I can. Yeah.
I asked him this a long time ago. What's going on, One Deck? You don't want to join us?
No, One Deck will join us. He's tried in the past. He's just explained this. You just weren't listening, or we're doing something.
Oh, I just came back. Yeah, I'm
But
sorry.
there's various people like Mush and Sensual Goat and Dank that often will have to go through a moderator to contribute. It's just making their life harder by not being in the group. Now, whether or not they choose to join the G Plus panel is up to them. Like everyone else in that group, there's like best part of 100 people in there, and obviously we don't have 100 participants each day. But you have the option. To my knowledge, there's even people like Jaren and such still in Master B, unless I'm very much mistaken. Like those.
Well, kick him out.
Why? Why?
I don't know. He's been such a nice guy to you. You might as well leave him there, right?
There was something important that happened. I want the lines of communication open. Yeah? There was something that needed immediate address, regardless of our either professional or personal differences. There might be a means or a need for a means to be able to communicate things quickly. Yeah?
Understood.
I rarely, if ever, I don't think I have ever, I might be corrected on this, but I don't think I've ever deleted anybody off any address book ever. That's not something I do. I've got people in my phone book that I've sued. Were you here when I was talking about Friday, DD?
Yes, sir. Sure was.
So yeah, I just need to speak to somebody who's like mod at politics. See if I can go in on Thursday rather than Friday. So yeah, if I happen to see AJ join this server at some point, I'll mention it. But he doesn't necessarily. So I don't know. We might just end up not going into politics this week. It's not the end of the world if we don't. But you know, a lot of people do really like that interaction.
I know AJ and some other mods from the server. If no one else can get to it, I'll try to get to it after the show.
Perfect. It's a request, so you know if they say I actually know, it's not an issue. But if they can just be made aware that I'm hoping to change to Thursday, if it's possible.
I've already
That
sent
would
him
be
a
on a
message,
permanent
mate,
basis.
so hopefully he gets back.
Cool. Wow, that was easy.
We're saying as I'm talk, I was just back to like the argument now. It's simplified now as the Earth's measured flat. Elevation angles to and from Polaris, celestial navigation. We spoke about it yesterday, and you can just get straight to the point, and it cuts everything out, which I think is great myself. And I was just having a conversation with somebody about this yesterday, and not that I've ever found it a major problem finding flat Earth, but admittedly, I have been through some emotional ups and downs with it. As in with falling out with friends and getting myself frustrated about things within the argument and the debate. But I feel now, and I think it's partly to do with this, I feel so much peaceful and at ease with it because it's just so. Now it's just so simple. It just comes down to how Earth is actually measured, how it's always been measured, and it's just as simple as easy as that. And I'm just
Yeah,
finding
because
that
there's
really
not an
nice.
argument anymore.
I completely agree. I started to ease into that feeling as 10th Man was going through celestial navigation. The more he went through it, the more at ease with our world I became. So in a short summary, I've said, I didn't really know, and that's not strictly true. It's just a good way of summarising and putting a sort of distinct line on a point we're currently making. So you can say, right, at the end of 2023, I knew entering into... It's not like that, is it? But like I say, as 10th Man was going through it, and you're like, okay, so that's how we're measuring the ground, and it's flat, and this is how the maps are made, and it's flat, and this is how the angles are acquired, and it's flat. And this is what you acquire if you're not on the ground. It's level and parallel with the ground that's flat. And you're going through it, and all you're hearing is the same thing over and over again in terms of how Earth's dealt with. And like you say, some of the stress for not having a silver bullet when the standards are so high is quite stressful. Now, even having met and, as far as I'm concerned, exceeded those standards, not surprisingly, our opponents still aren't happy with it, right? And furthermore, some of our own side aren't happy with it either, are they, One Deck? And I don't care. Literally, I don't care. It's like, yeah, if this is not good enough for you, the fact that Earth's measured flat, then there is no pleasing you.
It's not an argument either. We're detailing a process that just happens to show that Earth is flat. So there is no argument, really.
But it is an interesting...
Measurement is to know.
Sorry, John, go ahead.
Measurement is to know. So to measure Earth flat is to know Earth is flat.
End of story.
That's absolutely true, but I'm more, from a psychological point of view, interested in how Wandex put it, which is to say, the level of stress decreases over time, or it has for me, and it has just been affirmed by you, right, Wandeck? The stress level decreases as you learn more about this subject. And for our opponents, what we have been observing and noting is the increase in stress that our opponents are suffering and the coping mechanisms that they use to alleviate themselves of that stress that's ramped up the more we do. So the more relaxed we get, the more stressed they get. Now, I don't know if that's going to culminate in some of our opponents doing something a bit more extreme than perhaps might be justifiable. I don't know. I mean, certainly early on, with an air of just we're justified in doing these heinous things, our opponents did do some pretty horrible things to various different flat earthers, me included. But that sort of time has the tables have turned and we're now in the winning position, but you would expect that to create a lot of unrest in our opponent's camp that might eventually boil over. I don't know if that's something we should concern ourselves with, given that we're relaxing, and that's normally when you get caught unawares. Do you know what I mean? I'm directing this to Wandek because he's the one who's put this sentiment forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said to you yesterday. They don't like the elevation angle, Earth's measured flat, Polaris details. They don't like it, and I have heard a few of them say the other day they're desperate to find. There was actually, they was openly talking about it. They said we need to find something else to take this away. They was both talking to each other that they had to think of some way of getting us off this argument. Something, I don't know, bizarre or some other subject which will try and get them away from it. That's what they're saying.
Well, think about it. They measure Earth flat too. It's part of their rhetoric. They know it's flat. It's part of their rhetoric. It can't be easy.
Yeah, they know when they're onto a
No.
loser. You know, decrying the P statement in the Black Swan because it's part of a logical consistency is vague and grey area enough for people to not notice that they're relinquishing their own claim in the first instance. We have to point that out. They're not aware of it. Whereas when we're pointing out how the origin of the measurement process begins, it's so foundational and so fundamental that to deny it would mean that they deny the starting point of their own claim, which they definitely don't want to do. So I think his name was Dean, but there was an Aussie guy on last time we went into Politics server, and every time we get to that point, he's got a very dodgy tightrope to stay on because he's got to tentatively accept what I've put to him in terms of the flat Earth measurement because it is the basis of his claim. So he can't just say, yes, I accept Earth is measured flat for this radius, or yes, I accept Earth is a flat plane for the elevation angle, because the moment he overtly accepts that fact and then moves forward, it's raised so many eyebrows in the audience that they go, hang on, so you're measuring Earth flat and now you're going to go on with your globe claim. It's too overt, so he has to tentatively accept it. And rather than giving a yes when I'm demanding one, he's like, okay, but now we'll move on with our globe claim. So no one specifically in the audience, nobody notices that he's just accepted the flat Earth prerequisite and measurement he needs to move forward with his globe claim. Now, if he denies it, he's denying the base premise of his globe claim. So he can't do either. He's got this tightrope he's got to straddle where, like I say, he can't accept it, but he can't decry it either. He needs it for his own claim. But he doesn't want it to be known that it's a flat Earth that he's needing for his own claim. So where'd you go with that? It's stressful. Amusing to us.
Right. It's called riding the fence and getting split in two. Because that's all that happens is you end up just dragging them back and forth across it until they eventually leave, quit, or go insane.
It's on just a slightly different point as well. It's amazing how it's progressed. And for an example, I can remember, even though, I'll use the Eratosthenes example to prove flat Earth. I can go back 3 years, being in a discussion with an anti-flat Earth or glober. They would be throwing Eratosthenes at me as the globe proof. And I at that point, I didn't notice that it was anything to do with measuring the Earth flat. I used to cringe and be, well, how can I get out of this? I had to Google this and Google that. And I didn't realize. So it's just things are unfolding all the time. And then you look back, you think, why did I panic about someone sending me an Eratosthenes evidence when it's pointing out how it's the Earth's measured flat? And now I use that and throw them back at them. These tables have turned.
They used to do it so nonchalant in their delivery of their flat requirement that they weren't spotted in their flat requirement. You know, you don't notice that they're taking angles off flat planes. And even when they tell you and just laugh it off like it's not a problem, flat earthers didn't recognise it. You know, the amount of arguments that include sea level and parallel planes is untrue. They're right there, right before your very eyes. You just can't see it. It reminds me of a little, like, crackerjack toy that they used to sell, where there's a little pirate holding a sword, and there's a little bar that the sword rests against. And when you press the button, the sword goes straight through the bar. And you're like, wow, it's a solid piece of metal going through another solid piece of metal. You're like, how the hell does that work? And every time you press the button, it just goes through. You know, you press it once and it goes down, and you press it again and it goes up. And you're like, how is it going straight through when it's a solid piece of metal? And then if you were to film it with a high-speed camera, you'd see that it's actually going the opposite way. It's going a full 360-degree rotation. It's not moving a millimeter. It's moving, you know, whatever the circumference would be. Let's call it 30 millimeters on this tiny little toy. But it's going quicker than you can see. You don't notice that it's going the opposite way. It's never passing through the bar. It's just going round anti-clockwise in a full circle, quicker than you can see. Well, that's them saying, well, with respect to sea level, you've got the elevation, and then they start detailing how the globe maths work. Now, because it's come first, you don't catch on that they're using a flat Earth. Sea level, oh, well, that's perfectly reasonable for a globe believer to use, we used to think. No, it isn't. Sea level's level. You know, using the old, well, level isn't really level argument doesn't wash either anymore, because we start taking them to their own geometry, where level must be adhering to the geometric principles of what level means by definition, and it ain't comporting to the outside edge of a sphere, equidistant from a radial value derived from a flat plane measurement. It ain't that. But, you know, having one Merriam-Webster definition used to be enough for the entire Western world to get away with using a flat Earth and quite boldly declaring it with words like level in their equations and derivations of these flat measurements we're now exposing in 2024. It is a massive turnaround just this year.
Yeah, Timmy tried to get away with that.
Yes, where's your silver bullet, Nathan? Now let me give you the silver bullet you were asking for.
Yeah, that was me asking him, where's your silver bullet for a globe measurement, Tim? Can you give us
He
one that
said his
doesn't use a...
definition of level is different. Well, not according to your maths.
That maths he'd appeal to.
But according to him, he was asking for the silver bullet of flat Earth, wasn't he?
Yeah, back in the day. That's why I asked him for his silver bullet globe measurement. But yes.
It's just interesting that he brought it with him. It just wasn't for a globe.
Yep. Right, we've got 5 minutes.
He's always brought it with him, though, if you look at it.
Grab a coffee.
Yeah.
He's always brought that silver bullet with him. We just didn't know.
He thought that silver bullet was for a globe gun.
Mom. He didn't realize the globe is measured flat. It just bees like that.
Rat-a-tat-tat.
I mean, it is poetic, but it's pretty true as well.
But it was bizarre. The other day, I was talking about the sundial, and you could use a stick and a shadow on the ground to get the time, and it will have to be a horizontal level surface for that. And this guy, it was ironic because the guy was sort of like really cringing that I was using the example of sticks and shadows to make a point. Like it's their only point they've got for the globe Earth. But he was like, really, you're using sticks and shadows. You can't, get with the times, mate. And I said, well, apparently that's your only proof of globe Earth, apart from Al-Biruni, of course, from
That's
2,000 years
brilliant,
ago.
one deck. I like it.
It's funny.
But yeah, but I mean, Eratosthenes admitted it, and when he said it, I'm taking an angle from the plane. They act like this stuff isn't documented. Even when they point out the angle and they use a flat plane, and they all giggle about it as they're taking the measurement. They just, as long as there ain't a flat earther going, told you, then it's not a big deal to them.
It's true. That's the only. I mean, that's the only two. Well, it's not evidence of a globe. We know this, but they still will only use Eratosthenes and Al-Biruni. I mean, this is supposed to be the original proof. That's why I asked them. And then, the minute they start talking about satellites and pictures from space, you said, but I'm not interested in that. When was it first measured according to you, and who measured it, and how was it measured? And they've only got Al-Biruni and Eratosthenes, which are flat Earth angle measurement evidence. It's
You
just
can't
bizarre.
appeal to orbital calculations. You can't appeal to orbital calculations as proof of a globe without measurements to back them up. That's how calculation works, So
So one deck is using their proof that they thought they had against them, and they don't know what's happening, do they? One deck.
No, it's the tables have well and truly turned.
All right, I'm all set. Got my coffee, got my cherry coke, Lite.
I think that deserves cutting out, Nathan. Making a little short video in its own.
Again?
Look at this. Some surveys are out.
What did you say, Sensual?
I said I think one deck's situation deserves trimming out in its own little short video.
What? I don't really know what you mean. You're confusing me now.
Just
One
using their
deck
own
just had an
rhetoric against
incident.
them.
While I was making a coffee?
I was just explaining, Nathan. I was talking to somebody regarding the sundial, and you can use sticks and shadows to gauge the time on the ground, which will have to be flat and horizontal. And they was like really throwing it back in my face, saying, get with the times, bro. Sticks and shadows, is that all you've got? I said, well, when I ask you for the your evidence of a globe, the apparent globe, you'll talk about Eratosthenes using sticks and shadows, and now you're mocking me for the same reason. And I just found it really bizarre. It was quite funny, actually.
It's called double standards. So it's the textbook version of it, because you've got them saying we only measure it flat because it's so big. Yeah. Then we say, okay, so we measure it flat, and they stop us and go, you can't say that. Like, but you just said it for your claim. No, but I'm not saying Earth is flat at the end. You are, so you can't say it. You can't just say it's measured flat like we do when we're claiming a globe with our flat measurement, because you're going to say Earth's flat at the end of you saying it's measured flat. So you can't say it. We can, though, when we claim a globe with it.
Morning.
Afternoon.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning. We've got a video to cover today. It's from a little-known YouTuber who's definitely anti-flat earther, and because it was very unfamiliar to me, I did actually have a 2-minute listen to it. Glad I did, because it means I can give a language warning before we get into that particular video. But in the meantime, we'll, as always, crack on with a bit of housekeeping. Is there any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
We measure Earth flat.
We do. I remember incorporating that as a housekeeping question, and going through a couple of different iterations of how the question should be phrased, and it was so important that we got it right. And I'm glad we did. It was worth the effort, given that that is basically the premise of our 2024 positioning in terms of how Earth is measured flat.
Yeah, we ain't asking questions about it though no more, are we?
There's no questions to be answered once we know how Earth is measured. It's not a debate, it's a statement of fact that is required by both sides to make any assertions about the nature of Earth, because that is how Earth is dealt with, and has been dealt with for a significant period of time. The conversions that have come recently in the last, say, 300 years, from those measurements and how Earth is dealt with, to a premise that we have a heliocentric world, doesn't change how the world has been measured and is still utilised. Still utilised in the same way, regardless of this extrapolation of a globe that has come from these measurements of Earth being flat.
The old, the definition of an elevation angle, a horizontal line is a requirement of that angle. There has to be one in order to obtain one. So it goes without saying that you wouldn't be able to obtain an elevation angle unless you had a horizontal baseline. It would be impossible.
Right, here's a case in point on screen now, right? Oh, it's just gone by. We've got Sticks and Shadows and Alberuni. Both require flat planes. So for Alberuni to measure the height of the mountain, he's measuring off a flat plane. That's how he's getting an accurate measurement for height. Now, the height is strictly a calculation after using trig twice, but he's still measuring Earth flat. Same with Eratosthenes, Sticks and Shadows. That's a measurement of a flat Earth for an angle. Nothing's going to change that. Now, they can try and reposition it into a sphere after the fact and say, oh, well, I mean, we just treat it as flat when we take the measurement, but that's only because it's so big. It's like, yeah, you treat it as flat when you measure it flat. So you're measuring it flat. There's no getting around it anymore. We're not going to just whistle past the graveyard when they start with a flat Earth measurement for a globe claim.
I think my favorite of those is the Earth curve calculator. You want to ask that question?
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth.
If Earth were curving, then you couldn't derive a point below surface level call Earth curve.
Right, that's simultaneously the same undoing of their assertion from a Merriam-Webster definition that you've got level being something that comports with the outside edge of a curved surface. It isn't. And in the Earth curve mathematics, their difference from surface level to what they call Earth curve is a necessity that requires level be level for that extrapolation of a flat Earth measurement, that surface level extrapolation, level extrapolation to infer that we've got a sphere by calculation. We haven't, and you need Earth to be flat to make that extrapolation.
Wouldn't it be fair, as Arwin was credited with the Arwinian paradox about 4 or 5 years ago, wouldn't it be fair to accredit John with refractive curvature with that paradox? So then when you refer to it, everybody knows what it is and he's credited with it, as he pointed it out.
The paradox that when they assert that level comports with the outside edge of a sphere, you can't derive a difference, deviation from level if level isn't level. That paradox should be ascribed to John, is what you're suggesting.
Absolutely.
His whole name covers that.
Refracted curvature. No, that's a Black Swan inference.
It covers everything.
I don't think so. Claiming that you've got Earth curve requires maths that suggests that the difference from the surface level is what you're going to label as Earth curve. Well, you've got to be able to calculate a difference from surface level to infer that point below surface level curving away from you. So if it's a difference derived from level, and then the rebuttal is, well, level ain't level, it's moving around a sphere. Here's Merriam-Webster's definition that says that, after completely contradicting the first part of its own definition, I might add. Then you say, no, if you curve level, you can't describe a difference from that level. And the difference described from that level is your Earth curve. So, no. Level's level. Surface level is required for their maths to claim they've got Earth curve. So what's surface level then? Well, it's the level surface that we're standing on and measuring to derive this claim of Earth curve.
Yeah, it's the flat plane that they deny, but they use.
In the pre-show, we were not joking, but sort of almost reminiscing about how much easier it's got since celestial navigation was the main topic of discussion. The end of the globe concern for me was 2020. That put a line through any semblance of there ever being a possibility that a globe claim could pad out again. It couldn't, because they destroyed their own geometry, and we found that out in their rebuttal with refraction. So they're never going to be able to assert their physical geometric sphere edge horizon ever again. That's Earth curve. Bye-bye, globe. That's the end of that. But then between 2020 and 2024, we've started to focus on what we should have been focused on from day one, have been distracted with Feast of Nonsense garbage and our own side using it, an addressment of their use of this garbage that we've all had as the same breadcrumbs to lead us to this subject. So 7, maybe a bit less years into the subject, we've gone, shouldn't we be proving Earth's flat? And after only a little bit of digging, and by a little bit I mean $5,000 worth of celestial navigation books spent by one of our compadres on the panel named 10th Man, we're now in a position to declare in no uncertain terms that Earth is measured flat, because it is.
So in 2020, it was bye-bye globe. I remember QE saying that. And 2021, it's hello, flat Earth. And it's always been.
Yeah, and at 2024, we're at the point where our opponents don't want us to be talking about the subject of elevation angle measurements and celestial navigation, because their requirement also has flat planes in it. And it's very easy for us to take their claims in any instance for a globe and start pointing out how they require flat planes in their globe claim. Now, at that point, they can't relinquish the base premise of their globe claim, which is a flat plane measurement, for example, elevation angles more often than not. Because the moment they undermine their own base premise, the foundation of their globe claim, which is a flat Earth measurement, they can't move forward in their globe claim. So they're caught between a rock and a hard place. I can't tell you that it's not a flat Earth that's being measured because I'm using it in my claim of a globe. But when I overtly accept that I'm first measuring Earth flat to make this globe claim, you win. So what do? Well, they just twitch violently. But this is...
Well, not just that. Not just the opponents, but even fellow flat earthers are giving us a hard time. That's the puzzling thing.
Yeah, that's because we've stepped out from a spaceship holding a laser beam and gone, look how easy it is to chop people's heads off. Watch. Look, he's dead. Wasn't that easy? And they go, no, we prefer to dig trenches and study the opponent's form for months. I go, why? I got a laser. Bang! There, he's gone. That was really easy. Check it out. I can put it on full auto and I can wipe out an entire horizon worth of people if there's an army coming towards me. Watch this. Look at that. 10,000 dead. Wasn't that easy? No. I would prefer we got drones to study the opponent's form and then we extend the trench line. It'll take about a year. Well, I got a laser here. We don't like that laser. We've never seen such things do such damage so quickly. We need to drag this out. We've got a lot of other nonsense we can weave in if we drag it out. I can weave in ether really easily if I drag out the death of the globe and never even mention flat Earth, and when it's hinted at, I talk about ether. You know, that's like trench warfare. You come along and just proving it's flat in the first gunshot. I don't like that. That doesn't leave me much opportunity to weave in nonsense, says every flat earther we oppose.
Hi, Nathan. I would like to bring a topic that is going kind of popular nowadays. So if you have a free time, so we can discuss that.
I should cancel my weekend for what?
No, like there is a guy like who took the initiative. Like he's kind of popular in the globe Earth side. His name is Will Duffy. So he took the initiative to send 24 flat earthers and 24 globe earthers to Antarctica to observe the 24-hour sun in the summer solstice this December. And I globe side they took like he's giving some kind of points if there of if the any of those 24 people, if they are inviting him to his channel, or if they are going there, or if they are going some kind of suggestion, then he's giving 1 point. So globe side got 6 or 7 points, but flat earthers are still at 0. So I would like, so can you like invite him here, so like we can even open our account and we can get 1 point. So and it's a good experiment. I'm a flat earther, so I really know like there is no 24-hour sun. And if we go, like if a good flat earther like you or some popular flat earther go there, then it's like win, it's the biggest win for our flat earthers.
Is it?
Why?
No, that shows you're a loser. When you show up there, you lose.
We've covered this, and I haven't contacted him, I've replied to him after he contacted me proactively in one of my videos. So the final experiment guy left a message for me that completely ignored all points raised in the video directly addressing his quasi-experiment. And there was a series of questions put to him by me. That is to say, number one, how do you respond to the fact we've pointed out the affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that your quasi-experiment is claimed to be? Number two, if you still stand by it being an experiment, what are the independent, dependent, and control variables and null? And number three, what about the fact that we've pointed out that Earth is measured flat with the new worlds, which was our example put as a response to this claim that we somehow need to go down to Antarctica? No, we don't. This world surrounded in mystery isn't necessary when we've already navigated the world flat to find the new worlds. So if the final experiment guy wants to respond to me and answer those questions, specifically, why are you using and affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy and calling it an experiment? Two, if you do, in your insanity, believe it is an experiment, what are the independent, dependent, and control variables along with a null? And I forgot my third one. What was the third one again? I forgot the third one already.
Well, the third one I think should be how does the elevation angle of the sun?
Oh, no, my third one was New Worlds. So as it's an Antarctica thing, I've immediately tied it to, well, no, my argument when it came to criticising Dave Weiss, for example, when he was out talking to somebody about Antarctica. I think it was the guy that ended up humiliating them at one of the conferences, nevertheless. That's a pattern that seems to repeat itself. Anyway, my argument was, no, why are we talking about Antarctica? It's shrouded in mystery, and we've got people who are resident on the new worlds after colonisation. And how did we find them? Flat. How do we navigate them to them? Flat. How do we chart them and survey them once we were on them? Flat. How do we find our way home? Flat. Well, that's enough proof for me. I don't need Antarctica for anything.
No, but I think that observation can falsify one model, either globe or the flat, because we cannot explain if the sun is going behind our head and going a circle.
You're not listening.
Stop interrupting him.
Sorry.
And on the globe Earth, if the sun is going to set, and so there is no explanation for the globe Earth. And for the flat Earth model, I don't see any kind of explanation. Like if we are going to a point in Antarctica, just imagine people are going to different points in Antarctica, so they are observing sun going behind them, behind their head. It's circling over their head. for more than 24 hours, the real sun,
Okay,
not a
and
reflection. Then
Mark,
there's no explanation.
And how does that prove something? What is it proving?
it's false dichotomy, first of all.
Yeah, it's got
Correct.
two
You
models.
got
We'll
two
get to that.
models.
We'll get to that. He said we've got your model versus our model. We'll come to that. But I don't know what side of the fence you're on, and I don't care. What does that prove? Let's say I'll take it as read. It completely contradicts a first-hand testimony from a man who spent 18 months down there that I interviewed 9 years ago, called Robert Shortman. He spent 18 months in Antarctica. There was no 24-hour sun for him. Now, that's first-hand account that you can go and check out on Confessions of an Antarctic Plumber on my channel. It's my most popular video. Well, okay, let's say I disregard his testimony and say, fine, there's an assertion that there is, and maybe things have changed. And there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Okay, let's just say there is. And what does it prove, and how does it prove it?
What's the explanation over the, like, just imagine we observe a 24-hour sun, then all the globers will come over our head and tell us, like, explain how it's working on the flat earth, because the sun is on the tropics and you should see that arcing, not going behind your head if you are on the Antarctica. So it's completely, it's I don't have any explanation, but like we cannot ignore that fact. Like this is kind of a very big experiment.
No, I can actually ignore it. I mean, you say ignore that fact. I've got first-hand testimony that isn't the case, but fact or otherwise, speculation or otherwise, I can just ignore it unless someone comes up and says this is how it proves something. Now, what we've had so far is an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, claimed to be an experiment, and then a hustle to get a load of people to go down and affirm the consequent. Now, we've had this before with Netflix. Now, if this ends up blowing up to be something the size of Netflix, with a whole bunch of dipshit flat earthers going down to Antarctica to affirm the consequent with some priest, then more power to them. This is now the second time we have covered this. It doesn't qualify as an experiment. It's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, and we've already got examples of new worlds being discovered with flat processes to discover them. Done.
Yeah, from the globe
But
side, I
hold
think
on.
they
I need to ask you. I need to ask you.
Okay,
how does the elevation angle of the sun staying above the horizontal for 24 hours prove a globe again?
It doesn't like prove a globe, but flat Earth or flat on the flat Earth. I don't see any explanation.
Okay,
but
well,
it's really supports.
Hold on, John's just given you one. You just didn't pick up on it. Hold on, Guy. You don't know how to. Okay, Guy, dude, relax. He did give you one. You just didn't understand it or comprehend it. John just gave you how that proves a flat Earth. You just didn't quite catch it, did you?
Like you're saying, like we are observing the elevation angle to the respect of the flat horizon.
That's what an elevation angle is. You're describing the elevation angle of the sun throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a flat Earth measurement,
Not
isn't
a flat horizon.
Yeah,
Not
of
a
course.
flat horizon, a flat Earth. The horizon is where sea level appears to meet the sky, sea level being the flat plane. So the sun stays above the flat plane for 24 hours. How does that prove it's a globe?
It might, like so many people might become geocentrist after that. Like it's my
You're not answering
speculation.
him. No, you're giving him consequences without proof. No, there's going to be no consequences of people becoming geocentric unless you've got some evidence that this proves geocentrism. So he's asked you, I've asked you, you've said you don't know, you've already answered, you don't know how it proves a globe. Well, let me tell you how they claim it proves a globe. They say, if Earth's a globe, then we'll have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Oh, look, we've got a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, therefore Earth's a globe. That's an affirming the consequent fallacy, not an experiment.
Yeah, like for me, it's not. It's proving nothing. But it's going to disprove one thing, according to me. Maybe I might be wrong, but like I'm a flat earther, but I'm also thinking like it's really supposed the globe if there is a 24-hour sun.
No, you believe Earth is flat. See, you don't know Earth is flat yet. But stick around and you'll know how Earth is flat if you just pay attention to what John has just put to you. That proves a flat Earth, not a globe.
If you went over there and the sun did do circles over your head, it will still be measured off a flat plane. It'll make no difference.
Yeah.
It just means the sun does little circles in the sky.
Correct.
If you look at this diagram on screen now for the audience, sorry to see you in Discord. You have to tune into the live stream on YouTube if you want to see what I'm talking about. So let's say that the S in these diagrams is sun. And from your vantage point, you say that you take 3 different measurements of the sun and the elevation remains above the flat plane for all 3 measurements. Let's just say, for the sake of discussion, that these 3 points are measured pretty much at the same point over the course of 3 days, and they're always in the same point. Always above the horizon, always above you, always with an elevation angle with respect to a flat plane being measured. Okay? Yeah, we've done this. We did it 10 years ago with Tracking the Sun on a Flat Earth Live, where one of the participants tuned in at the equinox to show the north 24-hour sun. Okay? Who turned around and said, well, because we've got a 24-hour sun in the north, it proves we're on a sphere? Nobody. Because it doesn't. But what, because there's ambiguity about whether there is or isn't one in the south, that proves a globe? No, it doesn't. And the measurement's going to prove a flat Earth. And they've affirmed the consequent to do it. They've called it an experiment, and they haven't provided the constituent parts of a hypothesis to claim it's an experiment. It's a fraud. So my response to the guy, if he's listening, I don't know what his name is, he's already come out as being a liar in some respect or another when he's hidden his identity and had to disclaim his lies already. This guy's supposed to be a man of God. Nevertheless, you're a fraud. You've claimed you've got an experiment. You haven't. That makes you a fraudster. There's no other way to describe what you're doing. If you say you've got something that you haven't and you're misleading people into doing things and there's money involved, it's fraud. So what am I going to do? Report him to the police perhaps for fraud? Because he's misleading people into a very dangerous journey based on the premise of science experiment. That's fraud. So the guy needs locking up. He's not in a position to be putting people in danger and giving them survival lists of equipment that they need to go down to a place so he can commit fraud under the pretense of science. Yeah, fraudsters need to go to jail. He's a fraudster. Yes, I am very much accusing him of fraud because that's what he is committing when he says he's got science. He hasn't. He's a fraudster. Hope that's clear.
Yeah, like I don't have any kind of more information about him, but the thing he's saying, he's going to pay the whole expenses for one globe earther, and Dave McKeegan accepted, and I think he's going from globe side, but from flat earth side he is still trying to get one.
If the flat earth side was smart, nobody would go. That's what they want. We don't need to go there.
Yeah.
Earth is measured flat.
They want you to agree to do it to lend credence to their pseudoscience. In the meantime, 2 models that was held up was one of a globe and one of a flat Earth. Both of them are using flat planar measurements of Earth. How is that going to prove a globe?
It won't.
Nobody's answered.
It won't. But if it was put in our lap and we were in the position to actually get some answers off these fraudsters, we'd be pointing that out to them. Now, they're, like I say, in the case of this particular fraudster, he's in my comments, responding, but not addressing any of the points we've put across. Well, given that it's been several days without a response from him, now you up the ante when someone comes in and starts punting it again to us. No, open your eyes. You're being deceived. Dave McKeegan's bought into this fraud. Oh, what a shame. He's a victim of fraud. He doesn't know what an experiment is. Otherwise, like me, be asking for the hypothesis, wouldn't he? He hasn't asked for the hypothesis. He's asked when. That's what he's done. Yeah, that's what stupid people do. That's how stupid people get conned. That's how fraudsters commit fraud. And that's what's happening. Okay, so Dave McKeegan's going. Well done, Dave. Nice demonstration of your stupidity. Why didn't you ask for a hypothesis? That's what I did. Said he got an experiment. What's the hypothesis? What's that? You haven't got one? You're going to go down and see if there's a phenomenon occurring or not? Well, that might be step 1. Just about got step 1 of the scientific method, observe natural phenomena. Now we need to formulate a cause and effect relationship with control variables and a null hypothesis. And then we need to actualize that scientific prediction in something called an experiment. Now, these words are being bandied around, aren't they? Yeah, by fraudsters. Oh, maybe let Dave know. We just view you as a victim. A moronic victim of fraud. Too stupid to know what questions to ask. Not educated enough in the fraud that's being perpetrated upon him. If he was, he'd ask for the hypothesis. Wouldn't he? He hasn't. He said, when can I get my coat? We're dealing with thickos. These thickos are put to the top of the list for the dumbed down public of YouTube, aren't they? To make you more stupid. He's not suggesting what you should do to avoid fraud. Ask for a hypothesis if science is being claimed. That's how you avoid fraud. How'd you get yourself killed? You go down to a very dangerous place without realising why. That's how you get yourself killed.
There's no need to travel south to measure angles, is there?
No. No need to do anything. Got measurements of Earth. We already know it's flat. New worlds. I put that to the same guy. What about the measurements and navigation of the new worlds? The discovery with the stars and the elevation angles and the expansion and the surveying of the new worlds that are now populated after being colonised. Got a response to that? No, we must go to this area of danger surrounded in mystery to see if a phenomena's occurring. All right, and if you see the phenomena, what are you going to do then? We will affirm the consequent with a fallacy. Oh, that's not very good. But we will call it
So what
science.
good will it be to detail a phenomenon if the phenomenon is dependent upon Earth being flat to begin with? But
Yep.
how is that? It's not useful. It's a waste of time. And
Useful for us.
You could consider it fraud.
Useful for us to prove Earth's flat with it. Which we will
So
do.
just a quickie. Just like we were saying earlier about some things you don't notice straight away and you can't see the trees for the woods or the woods for the trees, as in the Eratosthenes conversation we had earlier. Same with the light in the sky. I mean, there's been so many times over the past 12 months, say, as soon as they start talking about the lights in the sky, I instantly say, we're not talking about lights in the sky because that isn't any evidence of the shape of the Earth. But it actually is, as John pointed out, because you can obtain elevation angles from the surface of Earth to all or most of the lights in the sky, which is proving without a doubt that the Earth is flat, and it's measured like that.
That's
So,
correct, baby.
Everything,
Right, and from
everything
those
they bring up.
elevation angles,
Just let one deck round out and then John. Go ahead, one deck.
No, that was it. I think you got the point. Yeah.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I was overzealous in agreeing with him because those elevation angles that you're going to take to the stars is where you're going to build your model of a celestial dome that you'll turn into a celestial sphere. But those elevation angles are flat plane measurements that you're going to build the idea that anything is spherical. It's funny when you step back from it. You can start to laugh about how absurd it actually is.
Okay, we're going to move on. Somebody suggested we look at this character, but they haven't given me a specific video, so we're going to cover this. So, this is Brains Pill, and I'm going to give you an immediate language warning. So, this guy uses quite a lot of foul language. Make of it what you will. So, yeah, if you've got sensitive ears or you're in a public place and you don't want people hearing swearing, I'm warning you now. This has got swearing in it. Okay, I'm also linking this particular videographer's YouTube channel in the chat right now. So if you're watching live, please let this videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. I don't think he's a particularly big YouTuber, so he might deserve a subscription. If you like the sound of what he's doing, drop him a subscribe. Sure, I would have appreciated it if people were doing that for me when I was first building my YouTube channel. So yeah, go and check him out, give him a like, give him a subscribe, but most importantly, give him a comment that says at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Just make him aware that we've covered his video. Now, while I say I did listen to a couple of minutes of this so I can give you that preamble about it having foul language in it, I haven't watched the whole thing, so I've watched enough to get a gist of what it might be about, but I don't know the full content, so I am pretty much responding to this cold, but this little yammery jabber is just so the live audience has got enough time to go along to Brainspill and let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice YouTube algorithm-friendly comment. And for Brainspill, the idea being that were you to respond to our critique of your video, you'd do the same for me, and like anybody that we respond to in that matter, put a link to my video if you were to do a response, helping me in the YouTube algorithmic love, where I, as a flat earther, absolutely do not receive any YouTube algorithmic love. Anyway, that's hopefully bought the live audience enough time to actually toddle along to this particular YouTuber. The video is called Flat Earth is Unbelievably Stupid, and we're going to get into it in a second, unless we've got any comments from anybody in the YouTube, the G Plus or Discord server. Anybody watch this already? Anybody know who this guy is?
Yeah, just to say, a health and safety warning for the audience. If you practice your fist clenching and your toe curling now, you're less likely to pull a muscle during the video.
I don't know if it's that bad. Right, okay, let's get into it.
Disproven concept that the Earth's shape is flat, it's round, it's a ball, it's a bloody sphere, people. I don't understand how people can't believe that this contrived drivel that the Earth is flat, when we know it's...
Yeah, I mean, based on the standard that most people have got in their ball, they think it's based on belief. It simply isn't the case. Oh, by the way, please share this show. Hopefully the people have toddled back after leaving this guy a comment, but smash that share button. It's only a couple of links. And then you're sharing the show on Bebo and MySpace and whatever social platforms you use. So please share this show. That's Flat Earth Debate.
It's round. My word.
He said
today.
No. He said no. In that position, he said no. Well, to know is to measure, to figure out. We know the Earth is flat. That's how we measure it. So what is he thinks it's stupid that we know it's flat?
He thinks the belief is stupid. And in some ways, we agree with him. The people who believe Earth is flat are often stupid idiots who don't know any better and don't necessarily believe much about flat Earth because they haven't got any information on it. They believe all sorts of periphery that is nonsensical. We call it the feast of nonsense.
We are going into detail on the theories and why.
These aren't theories, right? Straight away, you're in a category error. Akin to what we were discussing before we started this video, theories come after validation of scientific predictions. That's experiments. After you have validated your presumed cause and effect, after observing it in nature, you can form a theory. This isn't that.
They're wrong. Might get a little twisted on this one, so be prepared, folks. Despite things pissing me off to no avail, I believe, just done over 30 seconds. Flat earthers will go. I guess the starting point is to discuss why people don't believe the Earth is round.
Same thing. Believe the Earth is round. Yeah, the standard that you currently adhere to is a belief in an area of volume that gas isn't filling in violation of natural law that you can go to take pictures of high-pressure gas in the form of a blue marble on a sphere Earth, not expanding into 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum black area around it. You believe that's true because men, claiming to be gods, travelled to heaven to show you these pictures. That's what you believe. That's your current standard. That's the current Western world religion and belief. And you're juxtaposing what you have as a current standard in belief of a sphere with what flat earthers believe based on what's been fed to you by mainstream algorithmic nonsensical garbage that's promoted the feast of nonsense that flat earthers talk about. Not what we talk about. So this might come as a bit of a shock, and you might feel justified given the garbage that a lot of flat earthers do spew, with your juxtaposition between your belief in a sphere and their belief in a flat earth. We don't have a belief in flat earth. As John just pointed out, that's how it's measured. Earth is measured flat.
And why they are so keen to believe this flat idea. People who wear tinfoil hats believe that the deep state, or NASA specifically, are hiding the truth behind the shape of our planet, resulting in a...
No, that's not really a belief. That's a substantiable claim, because when I demonstrate that there's a law of nature violation in the claim, that undoes their claim, because there's no retort, there's no response, there's no rebuttal. You can't undo the fact that a law of nature is that gas fills space. And what do you know? Your sky is called space, and gas is not filling it. The little rockets can go through the high pressure gas we're all enjoying breathing and go through the 10 to the minus 17 Torr vacuum and get to the moon. But the gas itself violates the second law of thermodynamics and does not disperse into that area also. That's nonsense. And it's a belief. You've not been to the area. You can't go to Narnia. I mean space. The place that these people on TV go to. That's NASA. We call them liars because we can prove they are. You can't go to an area of volume gas isn't filling. The people who say that they have been to space are liars. No doubt about it.
Small sect of flat earthers or morons who think that the globe is wrong, all based on a conspiracy with little to no objective evidence to prove that the earth is flat.
That we showed you that Earth was measured flat to navigate to the new worlds, that the territory we currently inhabit has been expanded out with the use of elevation angle measurements with respect to a flat baseline. Here's one on screen now. This is how we measure the stars. You need a flat Earth as the baseline for this triangle to measure an elevation angle, and that is precisely how Earth has been mapped and navigated. It's still used to this day in the current systems. Go ahead.
And the belief that there is a ever-expanding space above our heads is derived from the celestial sphere model of a flat plane where they've set the stars at an infinite distance away. It's still a flat plane description. That's why all their gradients are claimed from sea level. He's denying his own model at this point.
Yeah, your belief in a globe, this dude, not John, your belief in a globe comes from these measurements of a flat plane that you say we don't have as an evidentiary standard. We do. Flat earthers as a stereotype do not. Now, we're on the great 2024 tour to spread this word to others so that they can spread it to others and so on and so forth in terms of how Earth is actually measured. Now, that measurement is required for both your claim of a globe and I don't even need to make a claim, just use yours. Whatever you claim, doesn't matter. You've so far appealed to the sky vacuum and NASA. John just took that to a flat plane prerequisite with the infinite distance measured with respect to angles and the celestial sphere off a flat plane. It's angle measurements. It gives you those infinite distance inferences and sky vacuum inferences and Keplerian orbital motions inferences and radial value derivations from flat plane measurements also used to infer you've got a sphere in orbital motion in a sky vacuum. It all leads to a flat Earth measurement in every single respect. But you say we've got no evidence. You just never came across our path. We've got more than you would know because all of your evidence is our evidence of a flat Earth because that's where your evidence will have its origins.
This is an image of what they believe. The edge of the world being Antarctica.
It's a stereotyping fallacy. We don't claim this. Hands up anybody in the panel who claims what he has got on screen, which is an azimuthal equidistant projection with an ice wall floating in a sky vacuum. Who claims this? Hands up. Say aye.
No one.
Must be one of you. This guy says that's what flat earthers believe. Come on, own up. Who's he talking about? No, this is called a stereotyping fallacy, and it makes you look like a complete buffoon when I can do a quick straw poll with about, 20-odd people, 20 or 30 people, and say who adheres to this stereotyping fallacy. It's a fallacy. None of us do. It wouldn't matter if one person did. It's a stereotyping fallacy regardless. This model that you've got up on screen required the grid system to be laid down by way of measurements of elevation angles to Polaris. It's got a latitude system on it. Therefore, this proves Earth is flat by the way the map has been laid out. Now, the fact that you've put that map based on flat Earth prerequisite elevation angles to Polaris to give you the grid system that is used on most maps, all that are used for current navigation, then you will need flat Earth measurements to infer this. You've got what we call a feast of nonsense strawman. I alluded to it earlier. What is the feast of nonsense? Well, stuff like this, where this dickhead tells us that by strawman fallacy, we adhere to this. No, it's floating in a 10 to the minus 17 Torr sky vacuum. The gas that we were breathing, if we adhered to this model that you say by strawman we claim, would all fill the available volume around it in the black area you think's a vacuum. It's got parts of your belief, parts of your straw man assertion of an ice wall, it's all from the Feast of Nonsense, and you say this is what we claim. It isn't. No. But what I did do is take an aspect of it and prove that there was measurements attached to them. That's the grid system that's used on this depiction. That requires a flat Earth measurement. It's also going to be used in your globe claim. Just so you know, I'm making you aware when you presumably appeal to it in false dichotomy later in this video.
So that the water stays perfectly in place. Because of course they'd need some reason to justify.
I had false dichotomy. Go ahead.
I was going to mention the false dichotomy, and then you added it in there at the end. This is the first step, is to get someone to accept the position that this flat plane model is what you believe, and this flat plane model over here that I'm not going to call a flat plane model is what I believe. Let's hold them up and see which one does better.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just reiterate that as is worthy. So this is the flat plane he says we claim, we don't. It can prove a flat Earth with one aspect, but it's what he says in Strawman that he's going to burn later in false dichotomy is what we claim. Fine. What's he going to claim? Well, he's also going to claim something that's using flat Earth measurements, but he's going to call that flat Earth origin-based, measurement-based system with a grid now stretched around a ball. He's going to call that his ball proof, and he's going to say that his works because the grid that's measured off a flat Earth will tally up with something in the sky or some other crap. Therefore, he wins. That's what we've been doing for 10 years.
Why the water just doesn't fall off the edge. I mean, that's just stupid. And if this was true, then I hope global warming accelerates so that the entirety of human existence can flow off the edge of it, because my God, what have we come to? But the wider belief is that...
Okay, so this man's in pain. Your pain is so extensive that you wish death on others. Okay? That's very sad, my friend. Tragic that you should be in such pain. I feel pity for you. For a nanosecond, then I pretty much forget about your existence, if I'm honest. By the way, please put a link to my video if you respond.
Actually, that beyond this Antarctic ice ring is that...
Yeah, he's full on appealing to the Feast of Nonsense representation as his false dichotomy globe that's going to fail. It's got an edge. People would fall off it. He's built his straw man. Now he's setting fire to the edges.
A new civilization.
Ironically, this guy's on the edge. He thinks we have.
He does seem a bit tense about the whole thing, doesn't he? Interesting that that's what the discussion of the pre-show was. Shout out to Jason Dean. This model still beats his ridiculous model. I think what Jason's saying from the super chat is, even though he's put up a crappy false dichotomy representation of a flat plane, it's still better than asserting that you've got a globe that won't work with anything. And to a degree, yeah, you're right. Thanks for the super chat. Did you have something also, Neil?
I was just going to say that they're the ones that have the edge. Doesn't he realize that?
Good point. Neil's pointing out that you've got a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon that's derived from a measurement of surface level. It's claimed to be below it. It's called Earth curve. It's in your maths. You've got an edge. You think boats fall over it.
Is out there. A grander civilization.
In case you weren't aware, Black Swan, we debunked that crap in 2020.
With the resources we need.
That crap being an Earth curve edge for boats to fall over. Your edge. You seem to have a straw man edge that you're claiming we need to defend. We don't. Meanwhile, your edge was debunked in 2020 with the Black Swan. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to that horizon, that's your edge the boats fall over, could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer sine feet, as defined by your Earth curve maths. Distance to horizon in the Black Swan is beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth edge for boats to fall over at 1.2 times the square root of the observer sine feet, as you said it would be in your maths. Therefore, there is no Earth curve edge. The Earth's not a sphere. Called modus tollens. Black Swan. We debunked your edge in 2020. We're not claiming one.
And that it's been kept from us. The shadowy deep state want to keep those secrets from us, and...
This is projection. This is his concerns. So what we've found over the last 10 years is people will often come to this subject, have a minor inclination that it might be true, and then he immediately contemplates by projection what we should be concerned about. No. What this is telling, all this is your concern laid bare by projection. Yeah? We believe that the deep state is something out of Eyes Wide Shut. No, that's what you think. I have no such idiotic concerns.
And, of course, the flat earthers know the truth. So if
Again, projection. In your mind, you believe you know the truth, and you're projecting that false sense of security onto your opponent, as though it should be wrong. In reality, what you have said directly applies to you. You believe you know the truth. Well, your belief in what you think is true is based on measurements of a flat earth.
If that's the case, then I hope one of you can just traverse over the polar ice caps and tell us what's on the other side.
Why? Because we need to go to an area that's full of mystery, like we were talking about earlier with the deceptive pasta? No, we don't need to do that. You know, there's these things called the New Worlds. There's plenty of people living on them. When we found them, we navigated to them flat, and we used the stars with respect to their elevation angle off a flat plane to find our way home. That's how we navigated and expanded the known territories we call Earth. We did it flat. We mapped it flat. We then surveyed the whole territories with respect to a flat baseline and sea level. That's how the world's still dealt with. With respect to sea level, might be a familiar term you hear. That's level. That's a flat Earth that we deal with, and have extrapolated out your globe faith that you're so confident in your belief and knowing.
The idea that the Earth is flat also seeks to disprove
It's not an idea, it's how it's measured.
that the Earth revolves around the Sun.
No, that extrapolation of heliocentric orbital motion is Keplerian and derived from the ephemeris and celestial sphere, which is measured off a flat plane. You'd think you'd research your own bullshit religion of heliocentrism before you started blarting out with false dichotomies about how flat earthers are wrong, because you're going to have your ass handed to you pretty quickly by people who do know the subject, like me and John and Neil.
Right,
ahead,
and
then I'll start the
when
super
he's talking about it revolving, he needs a plane of reference to describe that revolution from. So could he go ahead and give that if he's going to claim that the sun is revolving around the Earth?
Yeah, you're going to need a flat plane for axial rotation. I was halfway there, John. Kudos. Shout out to American Living. Good job, gentlemen. It's measured flat. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate the support, American Living. Thank you so much for the super chat.
But instead, that the Earth is stationary.
It's not a positive claim.
We as a species have developed our knowledge and understanding of the world around us, but more
No, you haven't developed anything. You've been told stuff.
specifically, the Earth itself. Yes, one day in the past, it was entirely reasonable to assume that the Earth was flat.
That's this day, today, because that is still how we measure it to this day. That's how we survey it to this day. That is how we navigate it to this day. The Earth is obviously, observably, navigably, and measurably flat.
You know, before science came along.
Category error. Science deals with cause and effect relationships. You are a moron. If you were to appreciate that science deals with cause and effect, you'd appreciate that the nature of Earth with its sphericity or flat plane nature is not a cause and effect relationship, and therefore outside of the purview of science and the scientific method, which deals with cause and effect. It's a category error. You're an idiot.
You can look across the horizon and see that things are, aside from hills and mountains, genuinely pretty flat.
Sorry, the hills and mountains that are described in terms of elevation with respect to sea level, their heights above the flat plane, your horizon that you're looking at with respect to its horizontal nature and its defining aspects in that regard. You've got quite a few flat earth proofs you've just described, my friend.
Even when you're high up, the curvature of the Earth is so minimal, it's difficult to see that the Earth is actually rounded.
So here's a first attempt at a globe proof, and you're saying it's so minimal we can't see it. What, so biggy it's flatty? The horizon by definition is a horizontal aspect to our vision. Why are you putting up a horizon? Oh right, in your mind, this is a physical geometric sphere edge at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet as laid down in Earth curve maths. You think this is an Earth curve horizon. No, we debunked it in 2020. I won't rehash the Black Swan that I went through earlier. But Black Swan, the horizon's not Earth curve.
However, and this is where a lot of the logic goes out of the window for people that believe this, is...
Logic goes out the window? Sorry, where's the science? Didn't you just say this is a scientific inquiry? Why would logic go out the window? Surely the scientific evidence that's empirical would have to go out the window based on your standard that you just applied here. Science came along, Now we're chucking logic out the window. You don't know the words you're using. If you now adhere to logic, Black Swan, that's a logical consistency argument called modus tollens. Look it up if you're going to appeal to logic. Do you think he'll lay out a logical consistency argument right now? Now he's appealing to logic after 2 minutes earlier appealing to science. Of course he won't. Go on, John.
Is he appealing to where surface or sea level appears to meet the sky?
Yes.
As being sphericity?
Yes, he's appealing to where surface level appears to meet the sky as being sphericity. Correct. And apologising for our non-spherical, something defined as not being anything other than horizontal is. He's apologising for why it isn't. That's his first bash.
Is that if you were looking over the horizon, say at a ship that was going over the horizon and then disappeared,
Black Swan,
it would disappear. Now, there's a reason for that, and that's because the Earth...
It's almost like you're claiming you got an edge. The boats are falling over, Dumbo. Wasn't it just me, or wasn't part of your false dichotomy debunk for a straw man that we don't claim, that boats would be falling over the edge and stuff? And now here you are, telling us our boats fall over your edge? No, it's just the horizon.
Earth is fucking round. If it was flat, that would not happen. You would continue to see it go further and further away.
Really? Hashtag shit shrinks, Dumbo. You think things just carry on being visible indefinitely? This cow is small. That cow is far away. Is this really your level of intellect? If the Earth was flat, the boat wouldn't vanish. No, it would. It gets smaller and smaller and disappears. Go ahead, Casey.
How old is the video? It sounds like really old arguments. Just
3 days.
Video was. No way.
Yeah, man, this guy's not, it's not his fault, right? He's not going to find his way to us to find the cutting edge of flat Earth arguments. He's looking through flat Earth after a search inquiry on YouTube and finding Dan. That's what he's finding. The chances of him finding what he's actually up against when he enters this arena with this video is slim to none. Like anybody finding us, we're algorithmically cobbled, and he's entered into it, done a reasonable job in production. I've got to give it to him. I mean, he's a bit echoey, but he's actually pretty good production. He's made the effort. He's a bit too sweary, and you can criticise other little things about the appearance, but overall, for a new YouTuber, good job, mate. Hope you get some subscribers out of me punting you in this manner. Hope your career goes well on YouTube. With a YouTube hat on, I wish you every success. However, if you'd have come across us through a search, you'd go, might not want to claim that I've got a physical geometric sphere edge. Definitely shouldn't be claiming I've got science. Definitely shouldn't appeal to logic unless I've got some logic to appeal to. You know, he might not have fallen into all these bear traps and have us absolutely berating him for his stupidity. Would he? But no, he hasn't. He's only going to find out how badly he's done after the fact. And he's only going to find that out because we're directing him to us thanks to the audience. I'll reiterate my call to action with that note. So please let this dude know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice positive comment. If you've liked his general demeanour, just give him a subscribe, drop him a like. But more importantly than anything, let him know that we've actually covered his video and pointed out some of the errors of his ways, his inconsistencies in logic, his setting up of strawman fallacies and false dichotomy fallacies and all the rest of the stuff that he's done, his category errors, blah, blah, blah. Let him know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So there is a link going by right now as we speak in the live stream chat. If you have just joined us, this is over 100 people watching, so I'm sure some of you didn't hear the previous call to action. Please just drop him a link right now. That is to say, if you're watching live, click on it right now. Go and let him know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. It will help him in the YouTube algorithmic love that I'm appealing to get a response on the off chance that he might do a response. But yeah, I'm sure he'd appreciate getting a bit of YouTube algorithmic love sent his way by us rather than the algorithmic self, which he definitely won't be getting. He's a small YouTuber. So hopefully that's enough waffle to get some of the live audience to actually do so and go along to his channel and leave him a comment. And that might boost him in the algorithm And then he can be replacing me up further up the lists. But there we go, that's to his detriment, as he's finding out.
So you'd think that that alone would prove that the Earth is round. But beyond that groundbreaking idea, SpongeBob...
Sorry, what up until now would prove the Earth is round? Did I miss something? Sorry, did I just have a little blackout? What happened then? What did he give us? Boats going over an edge?
Yep.
Is that it? Well, that's enough for you, Guy. I mean, go on your way. Why are you making a video? Boats go over an edge. And because they're going over an edge, and that's the only explanation for it, given the alternative that you'd see him forever, Earth is a ball. Yeah, on your way, mate. That's enough for you. That's your standard. Good for you. Well done. Yeah, this really is a SpongeBob standard, mate.
We have technology. We know for a fact that the Earth is not flat. So what reasons do flat earthers have to believe that...
Sorry, is this going to be about the technology now? He just keeps introducing subject headings and then not really covering them. Where's the science? Where's the logic? And now where's the technology?
It isn't round. Well, a fundamental concept of our reality is...
There again, John?
I said I hope he goes to radar.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know where he's going with this. We'll hopefully find out shortly.
Gravity. You trip, you fall, you break your teeth. Thanks, gravity. You know, the gravitational...
You trip, you fall, you let go of your helium balloons, you break your teeth, you look up at the clouds, and then it starts pouring with rain. Then the sun comes out and you watch all that rain get evaporated back up into the clouds. Sorry, what was your point again? That's gravity. Is the gas going down, go boom, boom when it evaporates? Were the helium balloons going down, go boom, boom and smashing their teeth on the pavement too? Sounds like you got this quite sad, rather depressing notion when you come to your examples. Your example of gravity is you smashing your own face in. Oh, nice. Really? And yet I debunked it with something as gentle as a helium balloon and clouds. Isn't that amazing? Go ahead.
Did he say he fell in or he fell down?
He fell down.
Oh, no, that's a flat earth, mate.
Why would that be?
Up and down or with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. You need a flat earth to describe down.
You'll need a flat earth for that. Surely you would mean in, like towards the centre of hell, based on a radial value that's been extrapolated out from flat earth measurements. Don't you mean in? No, what you mean is all things move towards the centre of a sphere Earth, except clouds and helium balloons and your breath. But that doesn't mean it's going to expand into the sky vacuum. Just because gas is produced at ground level and making its way up, fundamentally undermining the notion that everything moves towards the centre of Earth at 9.8 metres per second. I mean, it does undermine that fundamentally, but when it gets to a certain height, it stops. It doesn't carry on into the sky vacuum, dispersing, leaving us all suffocating like in Total Recall or anything. That's not going to happen, right? The sky vacuum doesn't affect the gas in that way. It just gets to the Kármán line, burns its bra in defiance of natural law, maybe eats a few cakes, and then comes back down, go boom, boom with gravity. I mean, that's what stuff does. Gas go down, go boom, boom, gravity. So why wouldn't gas fall down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash?
Pull of the Earth which keeps us all grounded.
Down with respect to a horizontal plane of reference, that's correct. In, my bad. I'm speaking on his behalf.
And elevation.
Making the same
elevation is elevation, describing an elevation where gas stops filling space. That requires a plane of reference as well. So he ain't going to be able to describe that elevation.
Okay, quick call to action. So there's 113 people watching. Woohoo! Please share the show on Facebook and Twitter, or wherever you share, if you like Bebo or MySpace. The share button has got a link to all of them. Whatever you're most familiar with, it will be there when you click the share button. One more click and you're on your way to sharing this show with the rest of the world, letting them all know how fabulous you are for sharing my show. So please click it if you haven't done so already. And obviously a very warm welcome to you all, as there's 113 people watching and there wasn't formerly. Thank you for joining. You've probably only joined because someone's already shared the show here. So please share the show if you've not done so already.
Grounded to this big ball of dirt which is floating around the endless blackness of space. But a flat earther believes
No, you'll need radial value derivations. That's measurements of a flat plane, and Kepler's orbital motions that are with respect to the ephemeris and celestial sphere measured off a flat plane to make those inferences. I mean, that's your fantasy heliocentric religious belief that you're so sure you know is the case. It isn't. It can't be, because the description comes from measurements that defy the description. I mean, it's a mathematical extrapolation made by Kepler to make better predictions about where the stars will be. Now, 300 years later, we're all reifying this into the actual ground we're standing on. It can't be. We've got to measure that ground flat to make those calculations. Now, I know you were unaware of the origins of Keplerian orbital motion. You just appealed to it because they told you in school you're in a sky vacuum. So you are, because you're a believer.
Believes that gravity, yes, that thing which we are subjected to every day of our existence, doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, gas don't go down, go boom boom. So while you're laughing, we just undermine the notion that things move to the centre of Earth at 9.8 meters per second by pointing out that gas doesn't do that. And that's not where the problems end, because your gas not only makes its way up from ground level, it stops at the Kármán line and doesn't disperse into sky vacuums, where the rockets go. So you may mock and laugh. What are you going to do now? Give us some scientific evidence of gravity. Give us some logic for gravity. Give us some technology that proves gravity. Let's see what he's got.
Yes, apparently gravity doesn't exist.
So you're addressing the contrapositive point that nobody's suggesting other than you, that we say it doesn't exist. No, the burden of proof is on you if it's a positive claim that all things move to the centre of Earth. You just need to demonstrate that. Oh, no, you can't.
But
you can undermine it with gas. Go ahead, John.
Isn't the rhetoric that there's not really a force of gravity at all? Like,
Yeah,
why is he?
That's a verbatim Brian. Yes, that's a verbatim Brian Cox quote. Quote: "There isn't really a force of gravity at all." End quote. Professor Brian Cox. But he's not been educated to the extent of pseudo-Riemannian fourth dimensional space-time bending. That's a bit of a mouthful. He's not familiar with Einstein. He just thinks of Newtonian forces of gravity because he's barely educated to a high school standard. So he just thinks that there's a force of gravity because that's what they told him in his stupid, pathetic, state-run school.
And that water will find its level.
Yeah, it's a principle used in building. Water does find and maintain its level. Water level.
You know, because the Earth is flat and all.
Well, it's not because the Earth is flat. That's just a principle of water. Now, given that we use sea level when describing elevations, you can ascribe that to the sea, which is quite a big expanse of the world that we inhabit. But in terms of water, and one of the main fundamental properties it has, that it finds and maintains its own level, that's correct. It does. You're having to deny that. That's pretty sad.
Apparently. This is
not apparently, it's a fact.
Apparently the case, as if it were any other shape than flat, it would fall off the edge.
Dumbo, flat is not a shape. Any other shape than flat. So you think flat is a shape? Why am I getting exasperated? This guy is just stupid, isn't he? Just tell me I'm wrong. The guy's just stupid, isn't he? Who gave us this to respond to? Own up.
I take full responsibility, and I did warn you, and you said, "Oh, it won't be that bad."
To be fair, you even gave
you
the
did
audience.
Say that.
You did. He gave the audience a toe curl disclaimer as well, so I can't really fault you on that part. And I chose to play it knowing full well what I was letting myself into. But the guy's just thick. Flat's not a shape.
Of the flat Earth. Look, you see the issue with the logic here?
What logic did you just lay down? There is no logic. Oh my God. This guy did not study logic. He doesn't know what logic is.
This idea on how water is flat is the
idea that water is flat. No, Dumbo. Water finds and maintains its level.
Only way to justify this belief.
Sorry, no, we measure Earth flat with elevation angles that have been used to develop the territory. The known worlds that have been colonised have been found, navigated to, and then we found our way back home using elevation angle measurements to the stars and flat maps. That's how the world still operates.
It's funny he would appeal to sea level being the only, the basis for all our claims. I think it might be the basis for all his claims. He's just a little confused.
Yeah, for example, when he's asserting that there's a physical geometric sphere edge for boats to fall over, he was obviously unaware that the physical geometric sphere edge at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet that boats are falling over in his imagination land of sphere Earth is based on the derivation from surface level and eye level. Both level, both parallel with one another for the calculation to exist. So you can infer that below surface level is an Earth curve edge that boats are falling over, because stuff never gets smaller. I mean, it's idiotic. But there we go. That's part of your belief. Well done, John.
Despite the fact that water can be in many shapes,
Can it? What, like when you're dropping it and stuff?
including round water droplets.
Wow.
You know, like the roundness of our planet.
Wow. So essentially, we're a giant water droplet. No, mate. We've got sea level. That's the stupidest thing you could possibly say.
What about Mark Sargent? Does he have anything other than flat ice?
Look, you show this man an ice rink and tell him it's perfectly flat, and he'll turn around and say, no, Earth's a friggin' hailstone.
At this point, I genuinely don't know if people actually believe this or if they...
You've just told us at the beginning of the video that you know we believe it, and you juxtaposed it with your own sphere belief, and now at the midpoint you're asking and questioning whether or not people believe it. I question your sanity and ability to comprehend things in a rational order.
They're just saying it to get a rise out of people, because
No, it seems that it triggers you, and because it triggers you in your ignorance of the subject matter, you question whether or not it's not that I'm getting triggered about this, they're only doing it to wind me up. No, mate, I literally couldn't give a toss about you, and after I've finished concluded this particular response video, I'll probably forget I've even covered you tomorrow. That's the reality. I am not doing this to wind you up. I don't care about you at all. However, we are pointing out how your beliefs are based on flat Earth measurements. Now, if that angers you, what are you going to do? Turn around and project your anger and annoyance onto me? You're only doing this to wind me up. You're only showing me how Earth's measured flat for me to claim it's a sphere, so I'm annoyed with you. No, I'm not. That's really stupid. But it does tell us how your pain is being manifested within you. It is very telling.
it's bloody working, folks. And no...
Yeah, we can tell. I summarised it before you confirmed that which I just assumed.
No, there's no room for claiming that if you had a powerful enough telescope that you...
You want to take it away, John? Powerful enough telescope? I wonder how they work. What are we going to do with a telescope? How do we set up telescopes, John?
Well, first of all, you have to level it. If it's an equatorial mount, you're going to have to align it to the equatorial plane after you've leveled it. I really don't see how this is helping you, bud.
You've got to level it, as in maybe it'll have a bit of water with a little bubble in it to help you and assist you based on the principle of water finding and maintaining level. You might level that scope based on its tool, and then if it's an equatorial mount, you're going to match it up to the equatorial plane. That's a flat plane that the angles from the stars come from. So you'll need a flat plane to match it to if it's equatorial, or you'll need a stand with a little bubble on it using the principle of water finding and maintaining its level to level it with respect to the horizon. So it's on a level plane. So it works level. So everything about your telescope proves Earth's flat. But you think it's got some semblance of sphere belief wrapped around it? Maybe you can explain how.
You could see it in the distance because, no, you can't. It's gone below the horizon.
Oh, I see. So you don't get magnification out of telescopes. Once it's gone over Earth curve, that's it. Yeah, you'd need a flat plane to derive the physical geometric sphere edge point you call the horizon, though, wouldn't you? That's how the maths works. You need a flat plane to derive it. So you can believe that boats go over an edge that we debunked in 2020. How sad. It's a shame you're not up to date with the
Right,
flat Earth
but up-
debate, because we don't get any YouTube algorithmic love. Go ahead, John.
Right. Below and above are descriptions of up and down. It's
Oh, dear.
They're synonym. Yeah. So going below what, sir?
0
The horizontal
degrees,
plane?
going below 0 degrees elevation with respect to a flat baseline. That's a flat Earth. 0 degrees, he's claiming below it. That's below 0 degrees, flat plane.
Wow. I just realized they have no room to move. They are
No, they don't.
cornered.
No, I only realise when John's on the panel how tight the noose is becoming. Because every second word is, you'll need a flat Earth for that. You'll need a flat Earth for that. You'll need a flat plane for that. Oh, up. Oh, down. Oh, beyond. No. Shit shrinks. Just to get us back on this train wreck.
And something else on that topic as well, which just drives me bonkers, is that we do have powerful enough telescopes. They look out into space. We can see planets millions of miles away.
The distance has been derived from a flat Earth radial value measurement. That's minimum elevation inference measurement to Polaris. From there, you can then map out all of the positional data with respect to the angles for all of the stars in a system. So the system would be Polaris-centric, measured with a flat plane. From there, you can then log all of these positions in the ephemeris and develop a model called the celestial sphere, which is the heavens and their angular representations wrapped around a single point, with you standing looking from that single point, Polaris-centric, with an extended flat plane mapped out from there. So you're standing to represent the angle measurements you've taken off a flat plane for the stars in something called the celestial sphere model. You can then convert it into those positions mapped up from the plane into a North Pole spherical positioning system. Kepler can then derive orbital motion with the tracked angle measurements of these stars off a flat plane. From there, he can derive something called orbital motion. Keplerian orbital motion can then be scaled with a value inferred by a man named Christian Huygens, who takes the radial value measured off a flat plane for Earth, transposes it onto Venus, a light in the sky, and suggests that that gives him the scale because he has a value that he can put to the lights in the sky and apply Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion to give you the values and distances. You can then derive everything else we're familiar with in the current Western world viewpoint of a heliocentric world with things like AU, distance to sun, all scaled off the back of Huygens and Kepler, all based with origins of measurements of these angles to stars off a flat plane. That is the starting point for orbital motion to derive Huygens-based scale and then give you the distance that you just inferred. So when you say millions of miles away, you're inadvertently utilizing a flat plane measurement that's been scaled with Kepler and Huygens to give you your millions of miles. In reality, we have no idea how far these items are, or indeed what they are, if they're even capable of having distance measurements applied to them. We only know where they're above on the ground at given times, and that is the system of navigation that we use when measuring Earth flat to expand the known territory. Doesn't give us any distance information whatsoever. You infer it through your flat Earth measurements and extrapolations of spherical R values after measuring minimums to Polaris, and then Huygens and Kepler, as just detailed, to take you to orbital motion with scales of Venus with R values measured off a flat plane. There's quite a lot of flat Earth needed for you to just say millions of miles. Now, given that we already know how dumb you are in this subject and how little research you've actually done into your own religion, me, the advanced heliocentrist in this regard, can discipline you in your understanding. It's to drill you in the flat Earth measurement that you will require for Kepler's extrapolations and Huygens' inferences, that a flat plane measurement can be ascribed to Venus to give you this millions of miles that you so easily threw into the discussion without realising where it came from. Just to conclude, you will need a flat Earth for those millions of miles.
And I'm pretty sure that those telescopes can certainly see to the horizon. And
yeah, and are you utilise the fact that you can see a horizon with a telescope. Yeah, I don't need a telescope to see a horizon, but yes, you can. Were you going to utilise a flat plane to infer that that horizon was a point below the surface level when extrapolating out measurements from a flat plane to suggest Earth curves below the surface level? And also the horizon you used in the first instance to derive that inference that can't be true. You can't see points below a surface level you've used to measure to make that inference. Earth curve doesn't exist. Black Swan. You just need to keep up to date with the flat Earth debate. Much, if not all, of what we have said here today will be so far over Brain Pill's head it's untrue. But I'm sure we're only doing it to annoy him.
Beyond if it was flat. But it's not, because it's round. Flat earthers seem to have a very low standard of evidence for what they choose to believe, and an impossibly high standard of evidence for what they don't believe. That's the general gist of what I'm getting here. They say...
No, again, I'd flip that and put that as a projection onto us. The standard that you hold for your own globe is incredibly low. The standard you put upon us, and there's no detriment, I'm very pleased of it, it was very high. So, for example, you guys will say, oh, well, you don't really see that the horizon's bending, and obviously that doesn't meet the definition of a horizon. So you're apologising for how flat you see the world. But for you, that's a standard that's just proved the globe. Yeah, your standard doesn't get any worse. Look, there's no Earth curve in the horizon when I look at it through an aeroplane, says you. Therefore, Earth's a globe. Because there's so little Earth curve to see. What? And we come along and say, no, your claim that there's very little Earth curve to see would infer that there is an Earth curve edge horizon that's been derived from surface level and a differential from eye level. So you'll need a flat plane to make that claim. Well, no, you can't just say we measure Earth flat when I measure Earth flat to say we haven't got much Earth curve to see. I can just say we haven't got much to see, and that's good enough. Yeah, the standards for us are impossibly high, and have led to us having the best standards you can possibly have, because we use their own evidence of the globe against them and point out where their flat Earth measurement origin lies in their claim. So our standards are about as high as they get. You just never come across us before. You've been exposed to the garbage standards of your regular rank-and-file flat earthers who regurgitate Feast of Nonsense in the same way you regurgitate Globe.
That you should trust your eye and look at how things are, because it's of course flat.
No, we say it's measured flat, elevation angles, mapping, new worlds.
Fine. Believe that if you want to.
Yeah. Or listen to what we've just laid out in terms of an actual standard of flat Earth measurement. Or use your own claims and look at where their origins lie in flat Earth measurements. And then you'll see for yourself how Earth's measured flat. Nothing to do with just opening your window.
But they then go a step further and try and disprove that the Earth isn't bloody round, despite having nothing to show it's flat.
Nah, we don't do that either. What we do is go, now tell us all about how you believe Earth is a sphere, and we'll use your standard that you believe proves a sphere to prove Earth's flat. And then you'll have a very tricky time denying what you've claimed proves a sphere when we show the flat Earth measurements within it. Because you'll have to undermine your own base premise of your own globe belief that use flat Earth measurements if you do decry what we use to prove Earth's a sphere with a flat plane that was required to claim it. Because it'll have been your claim in the first instance. You'll just be very, very troubled at the fact that you'll have to tell me, no, I'm not measuring Earth flat when I use that measurement to claim a sphere with it. That's what you'll have to do. So no, we won't be undermining your globe. We'll take your globe claims as our victory in 2024.
One thing they commonly point to are flight paths, and the question as to why planes take certain flight paths if the Earth was round.
We don't do that here. We point out there's no drop for an airplane. They fly and maintain level. Go ahead, John.
Well, flight paths are dependent upon a longitude and latitude-based system that are measured from a flat plane. So how does flight paths prove it's a globe again?
They don't. They're utilising a system of flat Earth measurements, as you just detailed, with Polaris-centric latitude systems mapped onto the ground, so you can have waypoints detailed out to commercial airliners, so they can fly across a flat plane, maintaining level as they do so.
trying to argue that it would make more sense if it was the flat Earth model. You know, without having really any scientific knowledge or background or even navigational knowledge to...
Scientific background, category error. Navigation knowledge. Ooh, again, you haven't come across this. Can't really fault you. You didn't know we existed until now. You definitely do now because my audience has let you know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So you can hear me pointing out that this is a category error and got nothing to do with cause and effect relationships and the scientific method based on naturally occurring phenomena, cause and effect hypothesis, that's scientific prediction, experiment followed by theory, again another word you misused. No. We do know about navigation though. Yeah, we've spent the last 2 or 3 years learning all about it. So we can rub it right in your face how Earth's been measured and mapped and navigated flat, and still is. Those systems just detailed by John, navigatable systems that you will be using also, were measured flat. Welcome to Flat Earth. We know all about navigation.
Place such a belief on. It just seems conjecture. This is quite frankly ridiculous. I mean, flights are constantly adjusting the altitude and the direction around the globe. If they were flat and it was a straight line, we would have really none of that to worry about. I even read that...
Pardon me.
Yeah, he's never studied flights, has he? He doesn't know how an aeroplane works. Wow.
He just appealed to altitude. What's altitude again there, buddy?
The height above surface level.
That's up.
It's the height with respect to a horizontal plane of reference, that's Earth. You'll need a flat plane for that.
That there is a belief among some flat earthers, and my God, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but some, not all, some would make you believe that whilst on board a plane, NASA come round and knock you out with gas. They then come and change the times on people's watches to make people think they've not been on the flight as long as they have. I genuinely worry for people. I mean, if people actually think this is the case...
What?
I don't know, he built the Strawman. I don't know what you want me to say.
Unfortunately, some flat earthers, that's what they say.
But if you're going to cite something that someone said, I mean, I say, okay, Globers will literally put money on the line based on their use of flat Earth measurements. For example, McToon, a YouTuber who people may be familiar with, has laid down $10,000 if you can explain how flat Earth elevation angle measurements work on a flat plane. That's me citing somebody specifically by name, so that I've got an example of a globe believer asking flat earthers how flat Earth measurements work on a flat Earth. Yeah? That's me breaking down who has said the ludicrous thing, what the ludicrous thing is with an example of the challenge. This guy has just made something up and then asked, would anybody claim this? Unless you cite it, it's only you claiming it. It's just some straw man he's building. It's absolutely pathetic. 121 people watching. Very warm welcome to you all. Please share the show on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, what have you been smoking? Because I want to have some if so. I don't think I could have thought of that in a million years. Okay, look, I understand this is starting to get a bit everywhere, but like I said, stupidity only gives me so much patience. So let's bring it back to brass tacks.
Well, what an unfortunate series of words that we're going to hear again. Just listen to what he just said.
Okay, look, I understand this is starting to get a bit everywhere, but like I said, stupidity only gives me so much patience.
Sorry this is going everywhere. Stupidity only gives me so much patience. Okay then. Well, I mean, I'm sorry that the stupidity only allows you so much patience.
So let's bring it back to brass tacks. Look, I'm no scientist, and whilst everything I'm saying is...
No. No way. No. Did you hear that? We just need to check that off the list, because I thought that was something we needed to do deep investigation into. I thought this guy was a PhD scientist. It's good job he declared that he wasn't.
Based on things that I've studied or read from...
You haven't read anything or studied anything. I doubt you can read.
reputable sources.
Like what? You didn't cite a damn thing.
The proof is in the pudding, folks.
No, it would be in the books that you read. Pudding's something you put in your mouth and digest. books are something that you can cite and regurgitate in terms of the scientific validity. The, what was the other one he used? Logical validity, or the self-evident observable validity, none of which you've offered. But if you're going to refer to books and then talk about how the proof's in the pudding, no, that's a culinary reference. You seem to be confusing metaphors. I'd need citations from books to back some of the crap you said. That's what I'd expect. But you're a standard rank and file moron moaning about the fact you found out Earth is flat and don't like it and want to now brace against it. That's the reality. So you're concerned with La La Land Illuminati and the dark forces and the dark hand and what flat earthers say. It's all very sad.
Studies that have come from people smarter than me.
Will we get a study? Will he get a citation out? Place your bets.
And I base my beliefs on those results. And
uncited results that we're not going to hear about, so we can check them. These imaginary results you're appealing to out of the air.
Ultimately, facts. If you don't believe that the Earth...
Excellent. Such a fine standard you laid down there. I'm glad I can go and check and verify those facts and standards that you've got. Wonderful. Did I miss them? Did I have another blackout?
Round. Someone
So
got
he's
into a
appealing
rocket.
to the people that he thinks are smarter than him?
No,
Is that what I heard him say?
No, he appealed to some stock footage of him flicking through a book.
Went into space and took a picture of the Earth to prove it was round.
No, they didn't. That's the second law of thermodynamics violation. So this claim to be picture of Earth from space would be in existence in what this white area would be, which is 10 to the minus 17 Torr vacuum. Now, these clouds give you a visual idea, although they're not, of what high-pressure gas is doing on the surface of this sphere. Now, based on the diagram that you've presented as your proof for a sky vacuum-based heliocentric sphere Earth in a vacuum, no, it's derived from flat Earth measurements. We've already covered that. But in terms of the visual depiction, this is high-pressure gas, and it's right next to 10 to the minus 17 Torr diagram-based sky vacuum in white. Gas would fill the space. That's what gas does. It expands at a high rate of speed into whatever volume it's got. And this whole area, absolutely vast in nature, would be the area of volume the gas would fill to follow entropic law. Now, the assertion that gas is not filling a 10 to the minus 17 Torr area of volume known as a vacuum is a second law of thermodynamics violation, making this completely absurd, definitely not true. Purely your belief. You're not getting these pictures. You're just taking them from your sky vacuum gods at NASA. The liars we defined as liars earlier.
Unless you want to try and claim that that's Photoshop, I don't know what to tell you.
I didn't say anything about Photoshop. I said that the area that the photo is claimed to have come from is a violation of the natural law we call the second law of thermodynamics. That's what I said. And it is. Gas would fill space. We'd all be dead if that was a real image of where we lived. The gas would immediately expand into the vacuum, leaving us with no gas to breathe. Furthermore, it would have never developed in the first place. Yeah? I know you've got a religious fundamentalist belief in a force of gravity, but gas doesn't behave that way. All gas is created at ground level and expands upwards until it, reaches the Kármán line and stops expanding in line with entropic law and gas dispersion? No, it doesn't. No, we'd all be dead if the sky was a vacuum. It isn't. There's no photos of blue marbles with gas not expanding into vacuums coming from areas that people tell you that they've taken pictures from. You just believe them. Shout out to Unitox Femu. People smarter than him are smarter than him. Yeah, thanks for the super chat.
Tell you. And that is a very common thing that is said. That if you have evidence that proves that the Earth is round, then the explanation is simply that, well, it's obviously fake. An easy...
No, that is not our standard. If you think you've got evidence of the Earth being a sphere, round... Let's not even get in that. If you think you've got evidence of Earth's sphericity, you present it to us and we will show you how your calculations are based on flat Earth measurements. That's what we do. We're not just going to turn around and say, it's fake, it's Photoshop. Yeah, a lot of flat earthers would do that because they don't have a very high standard. That's not what we do. We'd take your evidence and show you how it proves a flat Earth. And then basically your evidence becomes our win.
To get out of jail free, that one, isn't it? If you don't agree with it, it must be fake.
No, we do agree with it. We agree how your belief in a globe is only successful in your mind thanks to the origins of measurements in a flat Earth that they're based on. So your win is our win. We'll pat you on the shoulder and tell you, yeah, if you want to believe Earth's a sphere based on these flat Earth origin measurements that get turned into a sphere Earth, you can believe all you like. We'll even educate you further in how your origin story came to fruition, like I did earlier with Kepler and Huygens. You know, we can educate you in the origin story of your globe Earth belief. Now we, in this advanced position that we hold, know that your belief isn't possible because your belief's based on measurements that contradict it. You know, you're measuring Earth flat to think you're standing on a sphere. That doesn't make much sense. But you're welcome to your belief. Obviously, we're not going to decry you of that. We just know better.
A very tunnel-visioned approach. The conclusion should not come before the research, guys.
Yeah, and the research comes in the form of measuring Earth. Then your sphere belief gets developed thereafter.
This does make me legitimately sad that people can be quite gullible and believe this is true, especially with the advent of the internet.
Oh, you're so empathetic. Oh, how cute. Maybe you'll gain a few subscribers. But it's sad. I mean, maybe I could garner such empathetic viewpoints for my audience to then perhaps see me in a nicer light. But as I said earlier, literally the moment this video's finished, I won't even remember who you were. Tomorrow I'll forget that we've covered this video. You are that inconsequential to me. I am not sad that you have a globe belief. It doesn't concern me. In fact, like I say, I'll put my arm around you and extend your knowledge of your own fundamentalist globe belief. Happily. And welcome you to Flat Earth as you understand the origins of the measurements that led you to that belief. But afterwards, I won't care. If that leaves you in total trauma, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Oh, it's affected you mentally, has it? No, earlier we got the impression that you thought we would just be doing that to annoy you. Yeah, you seem very self-absorbed. Go away. Deal with your pain elsewhere.
Net, where anyone can say anything, and provided you get enough people to back you, then a small sect can have a big voice, even if it's fundamentally untrue. I think the other aspect of this as well is that even if they don't quite have the evidence to prove what they're believing, they'll believe it anyway, because it's something where they can feel that they are better. Hear me out here. So, if you're talking to a flat earther and you...
This is more projection, John. Go ahead.
He doesn't know what believe means. Accepting without evidence is belief. So, what is he talking about evidence for?
You say, no, it's ridiculous, your ideas are flawed and have no logic behind them, fine. The flat earther will think, well, that's okay, because I know the truth, and you're just a sheep that's following what everyone tells you.
He got this from his crystal ball. Show me the inner thoughts of all flat earthers by stereotype fallacy, O mystical crystal ball.
Show me some categorical evidence that it's flat.
Sure, latitude measurement. It's the basis of your globe belief. It's elevation angle measurements to Polaris off a flat plane. It's the grid system that expanded out into your globe faith when you stretched the areas of equal elevation we use when measuring latitude onto a ball. Yeah, your globe belief has origins in flat earth measurements. There you go, there's cast iron proof. It's cast iron proof you can't deny because it's the basis of your globe belief.
Right, categorically, all measurements of Earth are with respect to a flat plane or of a flat plane. So, yeah, there you go. Shut up and go away now.
Or maybe you could let us know after the fact. Now we've demonstrably proven Earth is flat and he can't deny those claims because his measurements that he thought were proving a globe are actually flat. I wonder if he'll just take the intellectual superiority route that he's inferring we take in this regard, or if knowing like the consensus that it's a ball is more soothing to him, and therefore he maintains his position in spite of the cognitive dissonance he must now be facing, given listening to us would be that painful. Hopefully a few of you have let this videographer know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me.
Not just with your eye. If it is indeed a fucking flat disc or whatever NASA come up with in order to justify such a
share your pain
conspiracy, and that our fundamental understanding of how the world works is not true, please tell me.
We did. Feel informed. You can thank us afterwards. Leave me a comment underneath the video thanking me for the advanced heliocentric knowledge that we've just passed on to you. It took us 10 years of research.
Right.
Hope you're grateful.
The assertion that it's a flat disk is actually the basis of the heliocentric model that he thinks, well, or the heliocentric belief. The model itself is the celestial sphere with the Earth disk in it, you know, that they try to turn that flat plane in different directions and keep the sky affixed with. It's still a flat plane. So that's his belief. That's not, you know, flat earthers believing in a disk. That's him. He's arguing with himself at this point.
Yeah. If you want to find out the disk that you think we believe in, you can just look on Google and find flat pizza pies in sky vacuums. In reality, the disk that is actually utilised, start with the equatorial plane. Look it up. When you see that the equatorial plane dissects the Earth as a sphere, maybe you'll scratch your head and go, why is this plane of reference, that means we reference it, moving through hell? Do we stand in hell for these angles that are with respect to the centre point of hell? No, we don't. Earth's nothing more than a glorified protractor when referencing the flat plane and celestial sphere around it based on the measurements of two parallel planes that we've taken to give us the celestial sphere model that the globe is extended out from. I mean, it's surplus to requirements because you have to reference all the angles we measure off the surface to the equatorial plane in the centre of hell if you believe you're on a globe. Now, for you as a normie, what you will find with your cursory Google search that you may or may not have done is that they suggest that we take tangent planes, because you can't measure angles off curved surfaces, and then transpose those tangent planes into hell. Why? Well, because all the light comes from very far away and is basically parallel. So they justify how you get the angles to the celestial sphere model and equatorial plane inside a globe Earth, like it's a starting point to measure angles that aren't acquirable. Like I gave with the Toon example, the elevation angles, I'll get them from a curved surface. But the globe claims will still use them at the start of their claim, like Toon did in his challenge.
Like, comment, subscribe. The Earth is fucking round. Those of you that would disagree are fucking stupid.
Oh, really? Are we? I'm going to go with no. Yeah, we knew far more about your own religious belief in a sphere than you did. Anyway, please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Not a terrible video. I mean, frustrating toe curling as it was disclaimed to be. So people knew before they got into it, thanks to was it Sensual Goat that gave that disclaimer? I believe it was.
Yeah.
Very good. Right, I'll shut up for a few minutes if there's any comments. Now's your time, as I've done most of the waffling and cut a few people off.
I suggest maybe cuts a drink for a couple of weeks. Maybe goes out early morning in nature, feels the morning dew, and rethinks the whole topic.
Yeah. So the video is Brains Pill. Flat Earth is incredibly stupid. There's a link going by thanks to Divergent Droid in the live stream chat. Please let him know if you've not done so already at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. More importantly, please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. We'll stay live for a few more minutes while we discuss. That was quite an extended coverage of that particular dude. I'm sure he's grateful given I've done 3 calls to action sending people to his channel. You got any comment, Neil?
I like how he...
Oh, go ahead, whoever that was.
I like how he was essentially saying that Earth is so vast that you can't see the curve. So another "it's so biggie, it's flatty" moment.
Yep.
There are no
It's funny, they'll
flat
always-
surfaces on a sphere.
Well, they'll always agree with us that we observe flat Earth. I mean, that's going to come along like first. We observe flat Earth. Everybody's going to agree with that, even if they don't know it yet. And then we just have to point out that it's measured flat. Like even Elder Bear right now will come in on the chat and he will agree that we observe flat Earth.
Any more in regards to Brains Pill?
You really feel his pain at the end there.
You do. yeah, his swearing reminded me of Tim Osmond swearing in frustration.
I was just about to bring that up. You know, the anger that and the defeated part, I think, comes after that. You know, because after Ken threw his tantrum and it raged out, it was like all the wind had left his sail, and I think that's where this guy's heading quickly.
Oh, I don't see why. He's just had an advanced education in heliocentrism and its origins. I think he'd be grateful. Any more for any more?
Well, if you know where it come from, you can't believe it anymore, though. You know what I mean?
No. But you can at least justify how your belief functions based on the flat Earth measurements it's come from. Right, on that note, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Yeah, good choice of video, I thought. It's occasionally good to rough it with some of the dumbos of Globe Earth, I would say. Can't all be the Sabine Hosselenfelders.
Well, those are the kind of people that would interact with us. Huh? They're not the priesthood.
It's just good to mix it up.
You think Sabine is smarter than him? Or as smart as him? I'd put them both in the same basket.
No, I would not put Sabine in the same basket as him.
Yeah, I'd put her in a worse one because she knows better.
Yeah, she knows better.
Well, guys, it's only a high energy, low scale problem, you know?
I do. I like covering the normie flat earthers and their viewpoint, because as time goes by, it is more and more telling. You know, in years gone by, you'd pay attention to certain aspects that they project onto you. Well, how do you explain this? You mean you're concerned about how that's explained now you found this awful truth out? I don't care. That's your concern. Go and find out. No, I'm asking you. Why? Because I told you Earth's flat and showed you how it was measured that way. I've got to explain your concerns with the Illuminati. No, don't. Go away, you stupid idiot. Your concerns are your own and they're very stupid.
Right. How do you explain solar flares on a flat Earth? Like, why am I having to do that? Why would you even ask me? You know?
Why would they lie? You must explain this to me. I didn't say anybody's lying. I mean, maybe astronauts, because we can prove they're lying. But beyond that coming up from your side of the fence, we wouldn't even bring it up. Because we don't care anymore. We moved on. We found out they were lying and then turned our backs on them. What we didn't do is go and ask them why this 24-hour sun's not showing for 8 hours.
I really got to know. Does the elevation angle of the sun remain above the horizontal plane for 24 hours? I have to know that.
If I know that, can I affirm the consequent with it?
Yes. Let me make a logical fallacy with it. That'd be great. Yes.
Once you've done that, can I see if I can get half a dozen or so flat earthers to buy into the idea? I mean, the flat earthers are what we really need here. The globers are inconsequential. They'll just be there to put pressure on the very fearful, as will imply, flat earthers that don't want to come and affirm the consequent with this.
Right. They need flat earthers there for the validity that they're trying to get. You know, they want it to seem like it's a neutral, just as an observation. We're going down there to take a look. That's all it is. No, you're affirming the consequent, and no matter what happens, you're going to claim it's proof.
Yeah, doing general
Sorry.
scan and file normings means we can actually cover some of the older arguments that we used to cover with a very different head on our shoulders now. Go ahead, One Deck.
I just saying, do you think these globers with this stupid, not an experiment observation, actually believe that that would be some sort of proof of something, or do you think they're doing it to like just pinpoint some stupid flat earthers?
I mean, we've had a pattern of flat earthers being humiliated by mainstream and larger YouTubers, and the pattern has persisted for many years now. So if those same group of flat earthers, you don't need me to name who they are, end up getting involved and humiliating us by stereotype based on what they do, at that point you just go, these people are, that's their purpose here. They're here to be used as a tool to humiliate us by stereotype when they do dumb stuff or don't recognize fallacy or claim experiment or whatever they're doing that ends up backfiring and making the whole community look stupid because they're the largest ambassadors.
Because I mean, their apparent supposedly proof that they live on a globe stemming back to when that was first apparently measured with sticks and shadows and mountain tops with flat elevation angles using the surface of Earth. I mean, if that, as far as they're concerned, that's their so-called evidence of Earth curve measurement, why then would you now want to divert and go and turn this into an observation and not a measurement? I mean, even though we can measure the angle of the sun above the horizon, but do you know what I mean? Why wouldn't they stick to the bare bones? If they think they've got a measurement, let's stick. That's because that's what you want. You want the measurement, not an observation.
I think you need to turn that into a poem.
They're regressing. It's a regression. They want to take it from what they know into something that's unknown so they can make their belief work. I think they're doing it on purpose. I think it's just the only way.
Because it would be like us now, knowing that we can explain how Earth is measured flat and how that's done. Why would you want to turn to any other evidence? Because that's the bare bones of the evidence, that measurement. We don't need to go anywhere else. We've already discussed this, that we don't need to go anywhere else. So if globers think they've got globe evidence, even though it's flat Earth evidence, why would they feel the need to go to look at an observation in the sky to further back that measurement up when it's got nothing to do with a measurement whatsoever, unless you're measuring the elevation angle of that object above the horizontal sea level, of course.
Because the general affirmation of the Western world isn't their objective. We are a thorn in their side. So discrediting or decrying the notions that the best ambassadors for the subject put forth is the objective, because that will weaken the position that is the thorn in their side. So the overall objective isn't to try and convert people to the globe. That's what the Western world believe anyway.
I disagree. We're more than a thorn in their side, buddy.
Oh, okay, fine.
Right. It's necessary that we exist, but they must at the same time discredit us as being morons and retards so that they can steal our measurements to claim a sphere with.
Yep, good summary. So if they can discredit people that are representative of the group, then it's like Brian used to say, it's, well, still does. The best form of attack they have, their most effective form, is the ad hominem. It's to personally discredit individuals.
Character assassination.
That's the one. I couldn't think of the words. Character assassination, precisely.
That's why flat Earth can't disappear completely. I mean, they need to keep the plane of reference. They just need everybody that asserts that there is a plane of reference and that is the Earth. They need those people to be mocked so that those measurements can still be used. They just anybody who points out that it's a flat Earth is mocked for doing so.
Yeah, and they need to say, no, don't use those measurements that we actually measure Earth with, because we're going to use those to say Earth's sphere. Use, I don't know, this sun and moon over a pizza pie. Those are your measurements. Go and claim those.
Yes. Now let me show you how these planar measurements don't work on a plane. What?
Right, I need to think of a catchy title for today's live show.
Sound like the guy's brain spilled out. Brains, or is it brain spill or brain pill?
Well, I mean, that brain spill I quite like.
You need to call him Genius Ball Earther, because he was a genius, boy.
Well, we covered the Antarctica thing, which I think is actually more important. So I want to incorporate something about Antarctica in the title. Antarctic brain spill.
Yeah, that sounds good. Who was that guy anyway? That wasn't Flat Earther, was it?
No, it was New
No.
Moon. Is there
No,
a Ball Busters tonight?
No.
That's a shame.
Like that I was speaking to that new moon the other day. That's what I was trying to sort of tell you guys before he jumped in. But I was having that trouble with it as much as I was trying to explain how it's measured flat, and we don't have to concern ourselves with this observation. Even though, as John pointed out, you can, if you take an elevation angle above the horizon for all day, then that's great. We've got flat Earth evidence. But I was just sort of saying, why go there? You don't need to go there. But he's adamant that this is some sort of, this will be good for the flat Earthers. If this happens, he can't get it out of his head. I couldn't get it through to him whatsoever.
Because he's got a belief. He doesn't know Earth is flat yet.
he's got the idea that there's two models in play. One of them's a flat Earth model, and one of them is a globe Earth model. And if we debunk one of them, we prove the other. That's what he's got in his head, and he ain't gonna let go of that.
You talking about the guy who came in earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yes.
throughout the entire discussion, he was just waiting for his turn to talk. So next time he comes in, ask him to repeat back anything that's put to him, because he wasn't really listening.
Was he a flatty?
He said he was.
He is a devout flat Earth believer. Yes.
Correct.
Are we succeeding? Are we weeding this out of our community bit by bit, do you think?
I do. I believe we are.
Well, it's having some effect, or we wouldn't be getting the negative blowback. Because really, the only ones who are challenging the measurements are flat earthers, right? The globers are like, well, why can't we use these measurements? They're great, you know.
We need them.
Yeah, that was another exasperated turning point in debate when our opponent was appealing to their use of a flat plane. And I remember refracted curvature going, you guys need a flat plane more than we do, because they were appealing to it.
Gravity, the horizon, yeah, every claim that they have is foundationally built upon Earth being flat.
They have no room to breathe.
I'm sure in a couple of months or soon they're going to be saying nobody's ever claimed the globe's curved.
We've heard that. Hold on, we've heard that. Remember, Highlander said, "Who said the ground under the mountain was curving?"
Yeah.
Highlander, where's he been?
Hi.
No one claims there's a geometric horizon.
Hold on, Nathan's onto something.
I was just going to say, you're going to need a flat plane to be high.
Or some acid.
How high are you? Yeah, you need a flat plane for that.
I guess it would depend on what you're describing as high.
So,
Like
something
hallucinating.
above the horizontal plane.
Did you say hallucinating above the horizontal plane?
Yeah.
Yeah, true enough.
It does encourage me when we go into the politics server, though, and normally when we first arrive in the morning, their panel there, or the regulars, are discussing how they've been smashing people by telling them Earth's measured flat in their example. So, at least with politics server, you can say we're having success, but we have tried to go in other servers and, we haven't had success, you know what I mean?
Well, information is usually slow to be accepted. That's just people don't want to. They don't change quickly. You know what I mean? Usually.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
There's some good guys over there, though. Jedi. No Jedi. He's quite thorough on the celestial navigation topic. He goes into some really good detail, like you have been doing for many years, and with what Tem's done. There's a lot of them. There's 6 or 7 of them that are all over it. We've been going in there a while, so not saying that us coming in have not changed anything, but they was sort of on it pretty good anyway, in ways and areas similar to what you guys do over here, or we do over here.
Good.
And that's how it
Yeah,
spreads. People.
Go on, John.
Oh, I was just going to say that people have to see it in action, really, before they'll, have faith in it as, being useful for the discussion. And there was a saying by one of the founding fathers of America that most people work on faith. Some people work on knowledge, and very few will just accept an understanding.
That's no good.
Those very few, though, are the ones that control the ship of state, or the understanding of everyone else. So as it spreads, it will affect everything as it does.
You know what I've been hearing a lot lately, when they come to terms with Earth being measured flat, they go right to, but it makes no sense. Why would they make it a globe? What's the point? It makes no sense.
That's a good question, but that's not for us to answer, is it?
Exactly. I have no idea. All I know is what measurements say or show, because they don't speak. But they speak volumes in this arena. Earth is measured flat. Deal with that.
Yeah, I just want
You
to
know, the
wait
one
for the.
measurement,
Go on, John.
I was going to say, yeah, and the one measurement they thought they had has been debunked, and that measurement requires Earth to be a flat plane to assert. Can't be an easy place once you understand that.
We're feeling the ripple. You know what I mean? Like you were talking about, you feel the ripples. I think we're feeling the effect now from the work that you guys did over the last like 5-6 years that at least I've been around. I think it's changed a lot of things. I think we're in a completely different place than 5 years ago.
Absolutely. You can tell by the amount of ballers that come into this, this Discord when Nathan's around, it's obviously having an effect, or they would be here asserting, that it's a sphere.
The best they have is a show now. They have realized that it is a farce, and they're kind of steering into that.
Yeah, they're trying to argue for what they don't know at this point. Like they want it not to be measurements. It's not measurements now. Like that's not a good place to be.
And by coming in and talking about it, they're giving validation to something which they claim has no validation. So then it's interesting when people like Mike Tyson come to the fold and Dom Jolly. So as more celebrities that come in and more high profile, the more acceptable it will be, and more people will be searching for it. So it's exciting times ahead.
Yeah, could you imagine if everybody realized that, what they're actually claiming with the globe? If just the people who had like logic-based shows realized it, that would be decimating the consensus viewpoint.
I wonder if you ever get a situation where, I don't know the percentage of flat earthers on Earth, but if it got to a position where it's like, 85% of humanity now realise that the Earth's flat and it's measured like that, but then there's still this global scenario going on that, they're showing you the globe and they're still telling you live on a globe, but everybody realises that's not the truth, but they just get on with their lives knowing that they know the Earth's flat. But that globe is still on the TV, global radio, global list, global awards, and it just stays in place. That'd be strange, wouldn't it?
In a fair world.
Because that's what it's like for us, isn't it? We all know it's measured flat, but you still look at other globes, you still listen to the, all the global crap, I don't watch much telly, but yeah, it's in your face on telly, you hear it on the radio. There's a taxi driving place near me called Global Taxis. I mean, you can't get away from it.
They can always go to say that level is just a point. I mean, really, that's the Bev route is all Globers can do is appeal to Bev.
I'd say points are from level.
Well, that's what they try and say, innit? But if you get in a 90-degree angle directly underneath Polaris, you're still going to need a horizontal baseline. You can't get a 90-degree angle from a point directly underneath the parallel, vertical. But they say you can. That's what they try and argue.
Yeah, having no point higher or lower than another, it's almost implicit that there has to be more than one point when you're describing level. But if I can just make level a point, then I can ignore everything else, is kind of what they're shooting for.
That's 8 billion local flats.
No. There's an infinite number of flat planes on a sphere. You know?
Like, honestly, the more you hear it, the more ridiculous it all gets. And that's probably why we're all kind of feeling like we're feeling like it's getting more and more obvious every day and easier to convey.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like every day, you notice something else that can't happen on a sphere or requires a flat plane to describe. It's just more and more.
That's why I said they have no room. They can't breathe. There's no wiggle room for them.
Yeah, it's like they're grasping at reeds, and every time they grab one, we're putting a finger in the top of it.
Like the globe is quicksand.
In the trenches, they'll strawman you with providing a entire map of the entire Earth. So that's what they usually do. Also, if they're not like super into the debate, they'll just say you don't have a flat Earth map, and then you just point out that all maps are flat and globes aren't used for navigation.
Yeah, that gets them angry. They start to swear at you after that. Call you a child abuser and a bunch of other crap.
It is good that the measured flat works with the elevation angle and the Black Swan. It all kind of works together as a big group to back each other up. You know what I mean?
Well, it was the perfect 1-2 punch.
I mean, it all originated from the Globe is Flat poem, of course.
Great poem. I know you're blowing yourself, but it's a great poem. So.
I don't know. I haven't heard any new material from One Deck. Get a little lazy.
Excuse me, I sort of decided to draw a bit of a line under it, pardon the pun. I felt like, what I'd sort of wrote and written about, there's a little bit of the top, the Coriolis and the globe is flat and there was a dingleberry, elevation angles, Eratosthenes. I felt it was getting a bit sort of, I had to draw an end to it. So I'm not saying I haven't got little things wrote down here and there, but it gets a bit monotonous, I thought. I was getting a little bit.
I mean more like to poke at them. Like when you were saying you were talking to the guy about the sundial. Put a little something together like that. It's to poke fun at them a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, it's not that. I just thought, right, I'll just leave it for a bit. I think I'd done enough to get a few points across about everything. Otherwise, it just gets a bit too much, I think. But I know what you mean, yeah. Take it on board.
Yeah, if you want to go with analogy, the Black Swan was them hitting themselves in the face with a shovel when they said refraction. And then the elevation angle was us grabbing that same shovel that they just hit themselves in the face with and hitting them a few more times with it. And then the measured flat is just stomping on the shovel as it's laying against their face until
No,
they accept it.
That's making a silver bullet out of the shovel.
It's giving them the shovel and asking them to dig their own grave.
Need a flat Earth for that, mate.
By the way, that was a great movie, Silver Bullet.
I never did watch it. The Kevin Bacon, he's on a bike. I know that much.
There is no Kevin Bacon in Silver Bullet.
Oh, we're talking the Gene Wilder movie with Richard Pryor.
No, that's Silver Streak. I'm talking Silver Bullet
Silver
with
Streak.
Gary Busey.
Corey Haim. Yeah, all right.
Yes.
Then I did see that one. That's cool.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I remember I was a little kid when I first saw that, and I was a little fat kid with glasses, and I think they killed the little fat kid with glasses. That was traumatizing. I keep asking what they're looking for in this final experiment. I guess I understand that they're trying to see the 24-hour sun, but what are they trying to show? I don't understand. Like the measurements should be the same. The tools that they use should be the same.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. It's either to expose dummy flat earthers who think that's proof of the shape of the ground, or they've got to take their thoughts away from the measurement and go up in the sky. But even when they do that, we can point out that we can use that light in the sky to prove a flat Earth anyway, when we measure the elevation angle to and from it using the surface of Earth.
You know what the
So they can't
biggest
really get out of
victory
the
would be?
situation.
The biggest victory would be if no flat earthers showed up there. But that's not going to happen.
I mean, if you show up to something called the final experiment, you kind of deserve what's going to come.
I mean,
That's what I'm
I can
saying.
see David Weiss. David Weiss is going to be there, and it's got to be.
He's an idiot. Tells you he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, I was saying to so, is it because I'll use the term we. I hope you don't mind. With the argument over here, it's not advanced. It's back to basics, really. Saying it's advanced, you're just pointing out that that's how it's measured. So when you listen to Weiss now, just fucking going on about whatever he's going on about, you're thinking, what are you raffling on about? Get to the point. It's embarrassing. But is that because I'll say we're advanced, but it's not really advanced, is it? Because it's just back to basics of that's how the Earth is measured. Elevation angles, to and from Polaris, celestial navigation, sea level, horizontal. I mean,
They fail at the beginning. They fail at step one every time.
but when that's that bloody bit of that Weiss yesterday on that video, I was just cringing.
Yeah, it's cringeworthy. He says nothing. The only thing flat earth about him is the name. Flat Earth Dave. And he brings nothing but ball.
Said to someone, some of my friends around me who are globers, didn't, obviously know I'm a flat earther, but we've had banter in the past, and they still think I'm a stupid idiot to some, even though I do point out how Earth's measured flat. But so there's still that, but there's no animosity, like. But I'm thinking if they stumbled across that, even the friends I'm talking about who are not really into the debate, if they listened to him, I would they would be straight on me saying, yeah, we've seen that a video of Dave Weiss. Well, it's just an embarrassment. Fucking
Yeah,
embarrassment.
these are the videos my son uses against me. Throws them back in my face.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks, Dave.
Right, but it's necessary for their faith. They have to first measure a flat plane, and then they explain how it can't be a flat plane that these flat plane measurements came from, so that they can use those measurements to prove it's a sphere. But they need someone to claim that it's a flat plane so that they can attack it. You know what I mean? It's a really weird way of thinking, but it's just how they do it.
It's like a mean kid.
Yes, it's extremely childish way of thinking, but I mean that's just I guess it's the way people are.
He ends up becoming the magician's apprentice.
Well, they have idols and they have teachers that they have to revere forever, and so when you get celebrities from this camp, they kind of need to quell them as fast as they can. I get that, I guess.
Just a quick. John might know this. Or, sorry, John, you might know this. Or it's just something that I was thinking. Oh, it's nothing that you've not discussed. I just wondered if you knew if there was I know we talk about the Haversine formula, but when we talk about Polaris at 90 degrees back to zero, and 60 times 90, which would give you 5,400, I think, something like that, nautical miles, which would be a quarter of the sphere. Yeah, and times 4 would be the circumference, which equals 21,600. But their actual figure of the sphere is 24,901. So there's a difference there. So is it actually? I'm just wondering why it doesn't match exactly to the elevation angle measurement what we're saying, and is there a formula that they applied to that 21,600 circumference to turn it into 24,901?
I don't think it's as much of a formula because one of them you're describing the equator, right? There's like two different values for the equatorial ring.
Two values.
All right. Well, it's like with when you're calculating in a triangle, right? If you use sine, cosine, and tangent, and you calculate all three of the angles using those formula, you'll never come up to 180 degrees. You'll always be at 179.8 or 179.6. So there's going to be some inaccuracies within certain calculations. So it may just be an inaccuracy within different forms of calculation.
I was just wondering about, obviously, because we're putting a weight that we're saying elevation angles to from Polaris back to 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 60 times 90. We've got a distance there, haven't we? But it doesn't tally up. We say that's the flat Earth measurement, but it's not tallying up with the apparent when they've wrapped them flat circular lines around a sphere. then is that what it is? Because the lines become longer, and they've had to use some sort of mathematical calculation to think, well, we did measure 21,600, but because now we're wrapping around a sphere, we're going to do a little calculations, and then that line from Polaris to 0 degrees is now actually longer and stretched out. But I just wondered if that was a formula, because not that anybody's pointed it out, but if somebody pointed it out to me once I've explained that that's how they get the measurement of their globe Earth is from flat Earth measurements, they might turn around and say, well, why doesn't that measures 21,600, not 24,901? You're incorrect. I might be overthinking it.
Yeah, it could be the conversion, right? It might be why is one of them done in nautical miles and the other one done in miles? You know, is that a possibility of?
Yeah,
I'd really have to see the whole process.
Yeah.
To,
I think the 69 miles per degree obviously is closer to what they would claim their spherical circumference would be, but still
right,
not
and
exact.
that's in nautical miles. But that's in nautical
Well, I think
miles,
right? What's 69? Is nautical not 60? And
it's 60 per. Oh my goodness! Hold on a minute. I'm going to have to go look it up because I blanked. Damn it! Does anybody have that information on hand? Because it's too early.
69 standard statute miles per degree and 6.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And 6. 69
Sorry,
statute
Adam.
miles.
Oh my God, Brian.
Yes.
69 statute miles per degree and 60 nautical miles per degree, which is probably the discrepancy you were referring to.
But do you know, Adam, then, is it a formula they add to that? Because, well, what would it be then? The 69, let's just do that. The 69 times 90 would be 4,140. Oh, what am I? So I'm just ignore me.
69 times 90 times 4.
6,210.
There you go.
Times 4.
24,840.
Yeah, so that's closer to their supposed. What's that? It's only 61 out, isn't it? So is that a mistake, or was there some sort of calculation that they had to think they had to account for that? Not that it matters, but it's just in my mind.
Don't see a discrepancy really there.
Well, they claim
Other than not being
24,901. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of them's in nautical miles, one of them's just miles. They're the same distance. It's just one of them's done in nautical miles, one is done in miles. And you're seeing the discrepancy because it's just miles.
But neither the nautical or the statute mile add up to what their presupposed circumference would be. But the 69 miles is a lot closer. It's only a little bit out. Like I say, I'm not trying to. I'm just pointing it out. I mean, you've obviously thought about this yourself, but I'm just wondering, when we say that's how you get your globe Earth measurements, it's not exact to their circumference either way. So I'm wondering, was a formula put in place after the flat Earth measurements, which only can be, was made, and was it something to do with wrapping them round a ball, or is it's just thereabouts and that'll do?
So
would it have been refraction?
If you're going to play you're going to play their ball game, you haven't got one R. You've got multiple R's because you've got an oblate spheroid. So one of those R's, I would imagine, is closer to the what you're viewing as 80 missing miles.
No ball games on the playing field.
Yeah, I'm not fully understanding the question yet. What is the discrepancy that you're describing? Is it the difference between nautical miles and miles? Or
Well, what I'm trying to do
I'm
is
just
when
not
we say the Earth's measured, when we're saying we're getting a measurement from 90 degrees at Polaris to 0 degrees, which is 90 degrees, what are we using for that distance? 60 or 69? Sorry, my phone rang. If it's if we're using 69 miles per degree, then it's a lot closer to what they say their Earth circumference is, but it's not exactly that. So I'm just wondering, is there a formula they use? Like, is that the Haversine formula? Have they put have they to put some mathematical formula on there, or are we just saying, well, it's not that far out? You know, things can alter depending on the conditions, maybe, and that's what we're going with. But like I say, I might be just totally overthinking this, and
Nobody's answering you.
The only formula you're using is 2 pi r to generate a circumference based on an r.
so they claim 24,901 miles. When we say it's measured flat from 90 degrees to Polaris to 0 degrees, either using 60 miles per degree or 69, neither of them come to their circumference figure.
On that
Obviously,
r
the
value.
69.
So if the r is slightly longer, and it will do, won't it? Or if it's slightly shorter on this oblate spheroid where not one r is the same.
I know. I'm just jumping out, guys. I've got a phone call I've got to take. Sorry.
also, if it depends on how you're doing the calculation. Like if you're converting to radians instead of using so the way to do it. There's 2 different ways, and I'm completely blanking on both right now. My mind's not. Hold on, let me go get
That's
some more
kind of a
coffee. I'll be
problem
right
I
back.
have though as well. I have a problem with understanding exactly, I understand that in reality we're working from 90, we're working along the plane, it's pretty much in my brain, measure flat or travel flat, land flat, and then start again flat. And that makes sense to me. So the problem that I have is imagining the globe by now.
Yeah.
Why would you want to?
It's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to even think of it as a sphere now. But I'm trying to find the calculation that he's looking for that'll give him the number he's wanting. I mean, that's so backwards in thinking. It's hard to do. But if you apply the right calculation, you can come up with just about any number you want.
I do remember Bunk and Debunk. I still think you should bring them back.
No, my girls are mad at me. They only play with their dolls no more.
Understandable.
Hey guys, I'm gonna head out. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
See you,
Later.
John.
Where's Brian today? You pissed him off yesterday.
I mean, if you look at his comment section, he's harangued, man. That's the word for it. He's harassed. So I guess he's doing good.
Brian is the globe earth freaking instigator. What do you call that? He's a scutch to them. We call it being a scutch.
I don't know. Maybe we should look at some of Brian's videos and see if we can get some of the points to how it went from 90 to a ball. Because the truth of the matter is, we got to have every base covered. We have to have every one of their arguments in our mind, as well as our
I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that at all.
Go ahead.
I don't agree. You know it's measured flat. Well, you gotta be able to convert it back into their perfect spheroid or whatever the hell you want to call it. No.
Well, I guess I have to know how
flat,
they did
that's
it, so that I know when they ask a certain question, because they'll ask you every question they can. They'll ask you about anything. They'll ask you about their own mother.
Keep bringing them back, like I do with my son. Oh, you agree that it's measured flat? Okay.
No complaints, really. I mean, it's getting easier every day, clearer every day. Always has been, 5 or 6 years in now, and that's a lot of clarity.
But look, it's the same thing that guy Bacon does when he tries to come on here and say, well, I'm trying to figure out how these 3 points, they don't come up to 180 degrees on what? On the sphere that he's assuming?
Not sure. Sorry, I had to jump out there. I wasn't sure if you're still talking about that. But my point, if you are, Neil, was like he's they do what they like. They'll jump on anything to steer him away from the actual point that it's measured flat. I know that, but I was just wondering, because they'll say, well, you're saying it's measured flat, but and you extrapolate that measurement to come up with the globe measurements. But if there's some discrepancy there, they will jump on it. It's only a minor thing, but like I say, we like to go over these things, don't we?
If I'm a flat earther, if I don't know everything in the world at once, I'm freaking insane.
That's on them. It's not on you. I'm sitting easy right here.
That's why I was thinking of, is it a formula where you could say, well, yeah, they've took the flat Earth measurement, and if it's then there's a mathematical concept to turn it into the spherical, you can say, well, that's what they've done. That's how they've come up with the 24,000, whatever it is. This is how they've done it, and they're the numbers they used. So yeah, it was measured flat, and then they used this concept to mathematical equation or whatever to turn it into that. And I can explain that.
There is a formula. They have a sign.
Yeah, that's what I said before. That's what I was talking about. But I don't know if that have a sign formula, whatever it is, would fit in with that discrepancy that I was talking about. So if it doesn't, it's got nothing to do with that. But like I say, sometimes I do overthink things.
I mean, you're overthinking it to get around. I mean, to get to the heart of it. I understand what you're doing because I'm doing it myself. You gotta get to the details, and you gotta hear them all, and you gotta sort them out. And then I try to get them down to like the quickest sentences that I can. So I
What's an
get it.
elevation angle?
An elevation angle is the angle from you to Polaris and the horizon, always at a 90-degree angle. It's going to be from level, and that's going to parallel and extend anywhere but never bend.
Game over.
Again, in a fair world, yeah, that should be game over.
An elevation angle is an imaginary line between you and the item in the sky you're measuring and the horizontal plane you're standing on. That's what it is.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah, it's over.
That
Then
was
nothing
even
else.
quicker than mine. I liked it.
Not the horizon, just to be clear. You can use the horizon, but the measurement itself is with respect to the horizontal plane the observer is standing on.
Okay, I get what you're saying. You don't even the horizon doesn't really matter as long as you're level.
Well, it does, because you could be using it if you're using a Mariner sextant, but the point is that the definition of the angle measurement itself is with respect to the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. So it's a line along the ground and a line to the light in the sky, or the top of a lighthouse, or anything that you're measuring in terms of elevation. The key detail is you've got to be standing on a horizontal plane for this to be an elevation angle measurement. Elevation, what does that mean? Height above. Height above what? The horizontal plane, because it's forming an angle. So you've got to have a plane to be standing on, because it's a description of elevation. And it's got to be flat, because it's the formation of the baseline for the angle. So it's an imaginary line between you and the point you're measuring, top of lighthouse, sun, moon, star, and a horizontal plane that you're standing on. That's what an elevation angle is.
I like it. I like it.
Like, in essence, elevation angle measurement proves Earth is flat. And it's the basis for our navigation and mapping.
So everything
Because
else
it's always
is a
going to be
waste of
step
time.
one.
In my opinion. You want to waste your time trying to figure out the globe? That's on you. Did I lose connection?
No, no
No.
one wants dead air, but you know it's pretty chill on the flat Earth right now, I guess.
Yeah, we're sitting pretty in victory. What's
It's
the
gotten
shout in
pretty nice, to
Fortnite
be
when you
honest.
win?
Again, Neil?
What's the shout in Fortnite when you win? Victory what?
Royale.
There you go.
Well, hopefully it'll kick off on Thursday, Neil, if we can rearrange our visit to politics.
I thought that was being handled. Anybody get in touch with AJ?
I'm sure it won't be a problem.
Adam!
I heard you shout. Go on.
How are we looking on 1,000 years? What new info you got for me?
Oh, man, honestly, you know, the more I look into it, it's just like I said, they've got a golden ticket. You can't argue with it, Neil. Yeah? Because every time you try to put an objection, you say, yeah, but that's already happened. But that already happened, and then the devil's hiding it. So anything that you would use as a barometer previously to give you a timeline is negated. The only thing you've got is how messed up the world is. How polar it is, how everything's the opposite of what it should be.
It does make the mud floods a little interesting, though, right?
But
They
honestly,
jumped on that one.
Yeah. It answers so many questions. If you accept that as a premise, then it answers not only a lot of Bible stuff, but also a lot of historical stuff that you might have issues with. Yeah, mate, because it's not provable, but it's interesting. You know what I mean? That you can resolve a lot of the problems with it. Well, oh, I've got another Bible quote for you as well. I was doing some Bible reading last night. 10 degrees, mother crusher. Right, so I think it's in either Kings 2 and Isaiah, I think, and they're talking about King Hezekiah.
Oh, when he was healed?
Well, God, to see the faith in God, God stops the sun and he makes the shadow go back 10 degrees. Boom.
Yeah, he gives him more life. Gives an extended, I think, 7 years. Is that the same one I'm thinking of?
No, not at all. No. So there's a battle going off, and to give faith in the Lord, this guy witnesses where the shadow of the stick in the ground of whatever, of the sundial, that's it, it not only stops, but goes back 10 degrees. So another example of affecting the path, changing the path of the sun.
Would that not be a direct reference to a flat Earth measurement in the Bible then?
It's a sundial, and you're going to need a flat Earth for that, aren't you? But it's the simple fact again that we're denying any kind of heliocentric possibility, or the implications would be enormous for a heliocentric resolution there, because obviously just got the sun orbiting us above our heads, that can stop without it affecting anything here. Whereas same with like in the other bit of Isaiah where the sun and the moon hold their positions and don't keep their rotation around us going and changing the GP, describes the GPs and where the GPs of the sun and the moon will be. So it's more that it's an impossibility for a heliocentric resolution than it is a direct, definitive statement that it's flat. He's talking about just the sundial. So the shadow cast by the sundial, not only will it stop, but it will make it retrograde. To go back the 10 degrees that it already worked through.
Yeah, but that shadow's on a flat Earth.
I don't care about that. I found another Bible scripture that's got it in. So that's what I was chuffed about. Separate reference, separate point. Separate point, the Earth's got to stop. Not only, and this is the point, it's not like the first time where you've just got the Earth stop spinning. Yeah, this is the Earth stop spinning and it then goes in reverse for a little bit before then carrying back on and going back the other way. Yeah, for those things in reality to be described by the heliocentric model, that's what has to happen in their model. The good thing about this one is it's independent. It's, well, not independent, but within two different books of the Old Testament, you've got the same story described. So, like I said, in Kings 2 and Isaiah, this is described in.
Correct. Did you hear yesterday that I delivered to Dean Odell the other day? I didn't see him, but I got a message to him.
What did you deliver? A message? Like one of your mafia messages?
No,
I got a message for you.
I delivered food to him.
Oh, right.
And I let the lady know that took it, that we'd like to speak to him.
Well, that's cool. It's just a little bit Ethereum, isn't he?
Well, he, I don't know. He got lumped in with Witsit, so we could set him straight.
That's what's
Guy's not a dummy.
Huh. Cool. Go get him then, Neil. Go get him, boy.
And Adam, I was surprised at how many people were there. Because it was a Sunday. I guess the service was ending. But there was a lot of people there. I thought it was a small 15, 20, maybe 25 people there. There was a lot of people there.
Well, that's good news. I'm going to get yourself down there next Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to pay him a visit. I'm going to sit in the back and have a listen.
Yeah. He can't be. He's not that far off, is he? Hey, he already knows it's flat, so. Bear with me again.
Who's there?
What's going on? Did I just miss another video? Damn it.
Yeah, but I don't even know if the after show is still going on. Oh,
Yeah, it's just very, very quiet.
I thought I
So
lost the reception.
let me look at the Skype to see what it was about. Was it this flat Earth unbelievably video? Somebody that Divergent put up, or was it Liam's video? Dr. Brian Keating. Which one was it?
Oh, Paula.
What was the subject matter anyway?
One day.
Another moron glober that don't know anything about flat Earth.
You know, that's funny because on IG, somebody had posted something that had, it was feast of nonsense, speculative, stuff about new German maps and, as Nathan and I always say, worlds unexplored and uncharted regions or realms, whatever you want to call it, yada yada, that supposedly has been discovered or whatever. And at the end of the day, I said, well, I don't know about all of that, but I broke down, angles, celestial navigation, Polaris, sun, to the sun, yada yada yada. And so, of course, a globe search says you need to put down the bong, and another one says you're a clown. So, of course, I was like, oh, we doing ad homes? I rocked them. I'm not gonna tell you what I said because you're on air. Excuse me.
Did you rock them like with the sextant?
Yeah. Well, I already rocked them. That was my opening thing. There was no need for me even to respond to their ad homs with any more intellectual data or informative information. There was no need to because I already did that on the opening thing as to concur with the Feast of Nonsense thing by saying, I don't know about all that, but yada, 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 bubble sexton. You know what I'm saying? I broke that all down. Even with that, the Globetard came out. One said, man, you need to put that bong down. And the other one said, you're a clown with emojis. So I went at home on them. And then I haven't heard from them yet. I said I said to one of them, I said, do me one better. Remove your mother's old high school graduation picture off and use another avatar picture. If you saw the picture, you'd bust out laughing. And then the other guy, I said something to him. After that, I didn't hear anything back from him. There was no need for me to even respond to him and say, why are you calling me that? But if you look at, I didn't have to do that. It was right there, my opening argument. Nobody else said anything. Everybody else liked it. 29 people so far liked what I said. And those two idiots came out of their face just to throw an ad on.
I was doing a pun. Did you rock them with the sextant?
Oh, yeah. Did you rock them with the sextant? That was a good one, yeah.
10th Man is coming back. I just want you all to know that.
That's good. That's good. I miss 10th Man.
Yeah, I got reprimanded by 10th Man because of the QE thing. And I took it on the chin. But the key word he said was, he goes, because we represent Christ here. He said, well, not we, because I'm not there yet, but I am coming back. He's got his hands full. I mean, it's 24/7 care for his wife. It's amazing that he even finds the time to be in chat and even sent the video the other day. But yeah, the thing with QE. And he was right. Brian compared, what did he say? The best comparison to somebody comparing themselves where they're most Christ-like was QE. But he was referring to, when Jesus went in and turned over the tables in the temple because it was fraud what they were doing. They were selling their sheep when people had perfectly good sheep that they were bringing for sacrifice, but they found a defect and they pointed them to their little area where they had their sheep to purchase it from them. So they were thieves and robbers. I understand what he meant by, because QE comes in and he turns over all the tables to pseudoscience. But Christ did more, whether you believe or not. I'm not going to go into that. Christ did more than just turn over tables, right? He preached the Beatitudes. He suffered for us. He healed people. He had compassion on sinners, right? To the religious, he was tough. But to the sinner, looking to him, he had amazing grace and told them stories that they can understand, like the prodigal son, right? Everybody was drawn to him.
Right. But with that, I am going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.